To get after Burnley and really put them on the back foot. That's what I'm expecting. I've seen Fulham recently. I don't know if they're capable of that. I'm yet to be convinced.
Well, it'll be Burnley who'll get us underway. The only 3 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League, but there are lots of 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Football League, and we're going to keep you posted on Charlton, Norwich, QPR, Portsmouth, AFC Wimbledon, Peterborough, and Bromley against Colchester. We've already brought you Ipswich 1, Millwall 1, and Milton Keynes 1, Barnet 3. But live on 94.9 FM, DAB Digital Radio, and on BBC Sounds, we're underway at Craven Cottage, and a long ball forward for Burnley has gone straight out of play, and it'll be a throw-in for Anthony Robinson to take on this near side at the front of the Johnny Haynes stand. Jumping is Muniz, back in the side today with Jimenez on the bench. Josh King is going to have to battle here to keep that away from Jayden Anthony, and he does so, and then he earns a free kick as well. So the Cottagers are going to get this back underway inside their own half of the field. As Phil was mentioning at the start of the afternoon, the amount of sunlight that can actually get to this Craven Cottage pitch is much reduced due to the towering presence of the new Riverside stand. It's a really massive construction looming over the Thames and looming over the pitch here, but it does look very impressive, if a little bit like a spaceship from Star Wars. But that, I suppose, just shows the appetite for the football here and the direction of travel off the pitch. But as Paul Mortimer has been mentioning, the direction of travel on the pitch is debatable at the moment after the FA Cup defeat. We'll find out quite a bit about how the rest of the season is going to go today, actually.
I would say that. I mean, the size of the stand back in the day used to impact the pitch, but because these pitches are from a different planet now, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But yes, the performance today is going to give us an idea of where Fulham are at after that disappointing FA Cup performance.
Minute and a half gone. Throw into Burnley on that far side of the field. Hannibal Mejri skips in field, being held up and challenged by King. Goes back to the halfway line, and Anthony's going to swing in quite a dangerous cross. It's going to be clipped back into the 6-yard box and blocked behind by Burge for what's going to be the first corner of the game to Burnley down their right-hand side. The cross seemed to elude everybody, and coming in at the far post, there was an opportunity for Bashir Humphreys, but his cross was deflected behind.
I think they're fortunate as well as a centre half who was at the back in Bashir Humphreys. It wasn't an attacking player, because the free play at the back post, that shouldn't happen.
Perhaps from a Burnley perspective, they should have created something. Here's the corner. It's going to be swung out by James Ward-Prowse, right-footed, clipped towards the far post, headed away, or half headed away, by 2 Fulham players, and Iwobi collects it on the edge of his own penalty area, sends it forward out of play. It'll be a throw into the Cottagers, and they just ease the pressure a little bit. Burnley asking some questions early on. They've quite a good record, Burnley, against Fulham here at Craven Cottage in recent years. Fulham have won just 1 of their last 5 home meetings with the Clarets in all competitions. They've lost their last 3 by an aggregate score of 7-0. Doesn't necessarily mean we'll get much of a reading on how today's going to go, as Harry Wilson tries to chase the ball forward. Humphreys gets it back to Dubravka, who kicks it clear from the edge of his 6-yard box. First incursion into Burnley territory that. Calvin Bassey has got to deal with the physicality of Zian Fleming here, and he guides it back to Leno, whose clearance reaches halfway. Munoz flicks it on, chasing it is King, but tidying up at the back is Maxime Esteve, who came off against Bournemouth with an illness, but is fit enough to start today. And Burnley will try and build from the back. We've had 3.5 minutes, no big moments as yet, but nevertheless, everyone just settling down in the sunshine. Those Burnley fans have travelled in great numbers, enjoying themselves in the Putney end of the ground, and Dubravka gets it out of his feet and away from Muniz and clears long. One in the air by Burge. Here's King once again, just guides it back to Calvin Bassey in the back 4 for the Cottagers. Wide to Anthony Robinson on this near side, inside the Fulham half of the field. It's a patient, not exactly cautious, but it's not an extravagant start to the game by Fulham. You've already talked about how much kind of will there is to win the game, and at the moment, Fulham aren't getting carried away, but they're not trying to rock Burnley back on their heels.
My observation of Fulham is there's just far too much caution in their play sometimes.
Yeah.
It has to be precise. You know, they don't just throw balls in the box and drive up the pitch, and sometimes you just have to play direct. I mean, they're passing it well at the moment, but Burnley are comfortable.
Yes, no one looks in any bother so far, do they? Here's Burge coming forward again, and Iwobi gives it to King, tries to turn it forward to Robinson, but it's cut out. It'll be cleared towards the halfway line by Lyle Foster, all the way back to Leno once again, wearing a bright red goalkeeping. I'm not even sure that is red. In fact, you might have to help me out there, Paul.
It's a strange colour.
It's almost like puce.
Yes, it is. Every time you look at it, it looks slightly different.
It changes the slight. Yes, if it's in the shadow or if it's in the sunlight, or you look at it at a different angle, it changes colour. That's very clever. Here's Robinson down the left-hand side for Fulham towards the Burnley corner flag. Squirts the ball into the 18-yard box, but it's tidied up. Foster will give this to Ward-Prowse, who sends it down the channel. Fleming reacts first to it, tries to get round Bassey, but between them, Bassey and Anderson have dealt with that very well. Just for a moment there, it looked as though Calvin Bassey was going to get caught out, but getting round Calvin Bassey is a very difficult prospect.
They do a good job, those two centre-halves, because they're not blessed with pace.
Here's Robinson again, down the left, he's just overhit him. Runs away from him, goal kick. And there's been an early goal at the Valley. Charlton, Norwich, Louis Mendes.
It's an early goal for the visitors. Charlton 0, Norwich City 1. It's Pel Matson from the edge of the box, found space on his right foot and fits the shot beyond Will Mannion. Charlton 0, Norwich 1.
Right, thanks, Louis. I think early news from the Valley there. Norwich, who are having something of a renaissance at the end of this championship season. In front, here's Mejbri. He's going to lift this wide. Charging down that left-hand side goes Jayden Anthony. He's managed to keep it in play. Hartman's with him up from left back, level with the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Goes back to Ward-Prowse, who wants to feed the ball infield to Mejbri once again. Anthony again tries to burst down that flank, and he's got away into the penalty area to the byline, rolls it back for Fleming, whose shot might have been blocked by a hand. He's convinced, nobody else is. It will get looked at. I did think it might have struck an arm, having watched it once from quite some distance away. I'm sure they'll look at it. What does Paul Morshaw
They'll have a look. They'll have a look. I mean, it was in a flash, wasn't it? It happened so quickly. And if it was a hand, it was a great save, by the way. But, but good play. Jayden Anthony is going to have to do that a lot, you know, to get in behind Fulham. And often that's what happens with Burnley. They get in the great areas and it fizzles out. But there, they managed to produce something positive.
Kyle Walker has recently announced his retirement from international football. Gives it to Humphreys. Mejbri tries to give it back to Humphreys, but it's sorted out by Iwobi. And then Anthony Robinson has to turn away from Lyle Foster, who's all over him, and he goes out of play. And Paul Morshaw, you're going to have to cross your fingers again, because we're going to Loftus Road, a goal in the game between Queen's Park Rangers and Portsmouth. Sophie Evans.
Yes, at QPR 1, Portsmouth 0, 7 minutes played. Kone with a fantastic interception on the right-hand side. He found Harvey Vale, whose shot was blocked, but it came out to Paul Smith, who outside the area just curled it into the top right corner. It's QPR 1, Portsmouth 0.
King over the halfway line, tries to break forward, but it's intercepted, and Jayden Anthony's at it again down the left-hand side for Burnley on the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Cuts in field, turns twice, shoots, it's blocked up in the air. Iwobi with the block. They did check that handball, by the way, nothing doing. But Burnley have shown that they are capable of creating chances, although Bashir Humphreys has turned this all the way back to Dubravka in the Burnley goal, 0-0.
Yeah, again, Jayden Anthony down the left-hand side, and I think he just took too many touches. I don't think he was sure of what he wanted to do. He had a great overlap down the side, I think it was from Hartman maybe, that he ignored. But they've started brightly at Burnley. They really have, and you know, you look at them and I think they feel, you know, we've got a chance here. But they have to go for it.
Maybe they sense the caution from Fulham, word you've used. The referee's going to give a throw in here to the Cottagers.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I just think with Fulham there's too much caution.
Yeah.
You never see them go for it. You know, really
rip
commit.
The handbrake off and just fly down the pitch.
They don't do it. I mean, and that for me is why they are where they are. This is a club that should be better. They should be challenging for the bottom aspects of Europe. They should be, but you know, it never happens. And you know why? Because It's not a lack of ambition, I don't think. I just think there isn't enough drive in the team and belief that they can do it.
Iwobi gets it wide to Oscar Bob, the big money signing from Manchester City in January. Sunderberg has it in a central position, faced by two Burnley players. Here's Iwobi again, moving towards the edge of the Burnley penalty area. King gets it back to Burge, and all of a sudden Burnley, who've been quite expansive in the opening few moments, get back into their own third, and then they try and break out of the half, but that's been picked up by Bassi once again, and Iwobi has a bit more space, tries to thread a pass to Robinson, good idea, cut out though by Walker, and then Mejbri's going to try and get it away from danger, and it's one back. Some more good work by Josh King through the middle. Here he is, turns and runs at the edge of the Burnley box. He's been forced wide, he might need a bit of help out there. He's being bashed around by two Burnley players, one of them's Lyle Foster and the other one's Kyle Walker, and he's managed to send this down the right hand side, and Burnley are on the counter. This is Hannibal Mejbri over the halfway line. Bassi steamrollers into him, but Ward-Prowse has picked up the loose ball.
Both teams have got into really good areas, maybe in the middle third of the pitch, and it's fizzled out. Mejbri should do better there, took too many touches, and mind you, he only had Zian Flame ahead of him. There was no one else up in support, crowded out by Fulham players, and so there's a lot of enterprising play in the middle area of the pitch, but it's not stepping into the attacking third with real promise at the moment.
11 minutes gone, 0-0 here on BBC Radio London, and there's been a red card in the game between Leyton Orient and today's opponents. Here's Dave Victor.
It is a red card for the Wycombe Wanderers defender Taylor Allen, who pulled back Don Ballard on the edge of the Chairboys penalty area. It is going to be Tom James to step up to take this free kick for the O's. We wait for the whistle of the referee Simon Mather, who pulled out his red card. There are 4 in the wall, all 10 back for Wycombe Wanderers to defend this set piece. It remains here, Leyton Orient 0, 10 men Wycombe Wanderers nil.
Thank you very much indeed, Dave. It is a this could be a corner on the far side of the field. It is, isn't it? Burnley have won their first corner of the game, their second corner of the game. Down the left, coming across to take it, is that hardened practitioner of the art, James Ward-Prowse, who loves a set piece.
It was another fantastic overlap by Hartman, supporting Jadon Anthony, really positive, and that'll be a problem for Fulham as the game goes on.
It's a right-footed corner from Ward-Prowse, so it'll bend its way into that 6-yard box. This loops towards the far post, goes over Estev's head and is headed away from danger for Fulham, but the referee has spotted an infringement. I think it was a push on Muniz, and it's going to be a free kick which Bernd Leno is going to take. We've had 12.5 minutes here on the home of London football. It's 0-0 between Fulham and Burnley. Earlier on, Ipswich 1, Millwall 1, Milton Keynes 1, Barnet 3. Tomorrow we're on air at 2 o'clock on 94.9 FM on BBC Sounds. You'll be able to hear Spurs against Nottingham Forest, and on DAB digital radio, Aston Villa against West Ham. That one's going to be available through the BBC Sport website as well. We're going to be bringing you our programme from Wembley, where Arsenal take on Manchester City in the first major final of the season, the League Cup final. Here is Kyle Walker, who's won a fair few of those in his time. Give it to Foster, who lays it off, who in turn gives it to Iwobi, and he can't control it, and Ward-Prowse is going to get Burnley moving through the gears once again. Here's Hartman on the left, held up now by Alex Iwobi, into the feet of Josh Laurent, and then it goes wide to Hartman. Little back heel from Hartman, which caught everybody out, and then there's a foul on Castagna on that side. It'll be a free kick to Fulham inside their own penalty area. Yes, it was it's a bit laboured, isn't it, from both sides? Yeah,
I mean, they're getting into good areas in sort of inside left position, Burnley, but like I said, it's that final bit of quality at the end that's missing from both teams. And Fulham, like I said, are slowly easing their way into a game at home against a team that's in the bottom 2. Yeah, I'm always baffled by that. There's caution, and I don't know why.
You would think starting on the front foot would be a good idea. Here's Robinson down the left, early cross, floats over everybody except Dubravka, who stretches out 2 long arms and snatches it out of the sky. That was a little bit more positive, a little bit more front foot football there.
I have no problem with that, because what it does is to the defending team, they have to run back towards their goal, and if there's one thing that teams hate is having to go back towards their goal. Put a few crosses in, get the ball wide, put a few crosses in, let them head it out and see what happens. But we all want to pass the ball, you know.
Bob plays it forward, Muniz brings it down, and on the volley sends it over the top. First shot in anger really for the Cottagers, from inside the D from Oscar Bob's ball forward. It's almost as though they're listening to you a bit, Paul. There's a little bit more positivity.
Yeah, I mean, again, a ball forward into Oscar Bob, and normally what's been happening is their first touch is back towards their own goal. He's let it run across his body, opened up and played forward, and Muniz would love that. That's the kind of service he'd like, you know, minute in, minute out. Good first touch, couldn't get his knee over it, couldn't get the technique right but that's just a sighter. Now they've got to keep doing that. They've got to keep producing this kind of football where they pass and play and run forward rather than backwards and sideways.
I say to Muniz, you're going to get that sort of service all the time. He's going to be more positive himself, isn't he, I suppose?
He will run. He will make runs. He will try to win the ball, but he will do all that if he knows that kind of service is coming.
Now, Hannibal Mesri nearly kicked Oscar Bob in the face and has now fallen over. I think he might have pulled a hamstring.
Yeah, I think it doesn't look that bad. I think it might be the end of the game for him, actually.
Yeah, it did look rather theatrical, and he had very nearly just given away a free kick. But yeah, he's now lying flat on his back and doesn't look very happy. Should we call back in at the Valley, where last we heard Norwich were leading Charlton? Any change in that situation, Louis Mendes?
No, still Charlton 0, Norwich 1 after that early goal from Maatsen. Could have been 2 as well. Good save from Will Mannion to prevent the former Brentford man Paris Magoma from curling into the bottom corner from the edge of the box. Charlton 0, Norwich 1.
What about Loftus Road? Sophie Evans.
Still QPR 1, Portsmouth 0. The visitors starting to see a bit more possession, but they're really lacking that final touch in the last third. It's QPR 1, Portsmouth 0.
Hannibal Mesri remains down. Scott Parker giving some instructions to his Burnley players, so this suspension in play continues. He's not moved, he's still lying flat on his back, trying to tell the physio what hurts and what doesn't hurt. So while that continues, we're going to plough lane. AFC Wimbledon, Peterborough. Izzy Gilligan.
Yes, it's Wimbledon 0, Peterborough 0. Visitors had 2 attempts saved in the first 5 minutes, but good goalkeeping kept it level. Matty Stevens has had to come off injured, so Omar Bugil is on. Wimbledon 0, Peterborough 0.
We heard about that red card at Brisbane Road. How's it going at this stage of proceedings? Orient, Wickham, Dave Victor.
Still goalless, but Wickham, of course, down to 10 men with that red card for Allen as the O's press forward now. Don Ballard with the header, took a deflection, and Leyton Orient had their third corner of the game. It is Leyton Orient 0, Wickham Wanderers 0.
Mesbury is still lying on his back. He's just got up. He's been hauled to his feet. Let's try and put a bit of pressure on it.
Well, the first couple of steps will tell you.
1, 2,
he's in a bit of
3, 4, 5. No, he's not moving well. He's going to have to come off. We'll go to Hayes Lane, shall we, in League 2. Bromley, Colchester, Ryan Matthews.
Just beyond 15 minutes gone here. It's Bromley 0, Colchester United 0, and in truth it's been all the visitors. Jesse Deborah went off injured just before the 10-minute mark, and Colchester have both hit the post and had one cleared off the line. Bromley need to wake up here. Bromley 0, Colchester United 0.
No, Mesbury's day is done. He's coming off, and replacing him is Leslie Ogachukwu, the £23 million signing from Chelsea. It's his 8th appearance from the substitutes bench in the Premier League, and he will come on and play in a similar role, I think, to the one that Mesbury was occupying. But yeah, that's an enforced change. He's making a rather sad journey along the touchline.
It's a shame. They're different types of players. Ogachukwu is more of a midfielder. Mesbury's more of a flair player, if that makes sense. You know, and they bring different things. Mesbury's always unpredictable, and that's always a good thing in this kind of game. You really don't know what he's going to bring. And Ogachukwu, I think, is more consistent and reliable in his game.
Lauren was confused by the bounce there, and King has sent it wide to Wilson, who cuts in field, rides a couple of challengers. Burge gets it out wide to Castagna and chops it back in field for Wilson, who drives it towards goal, and it fizzes over the top. Well, that was very nearly vintage Harry Wilson, wasn't it? We've seen him do that a number of times this season, cut in from that flank and send a stinging effort towards goal. This was just over the frame, but not by much.
Well, it's a decent strike. Again, it's a sighter. I mean, you haven't name-checked Harry Wilson much in this game. He's not really been in it. And he's an important part of how Fulham attack, I have to say. But, yeah, that's what they need to do. They need to get the ball into him and leave him to create. Good strike, but it was always going wide.
Still 0-0. 19 minutes played in the first half. We haven't seen much from an attacking perspective from Burnley yet. Fulham have had, you said, a couple of little moments. That one from Wilson, probably the best. Muniz's effort as well. But there's Anthony Robinson doing well on halfway and getting away from Foster, running at the edge of the box. He's sent across into the penalty area and it's been gathered. Now, was Robinson shoved over as he executed the cross? The referee, Mr. Kavanagh, was close to it and says play on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a get on the weights one. Really good anticipation by Anthony Robinson, but then the problem he had was, as he's looked up, there's no one to hit, so he slowed down a little bit. Foster's got back at him, just giving him a nudge, and it's fizzled out. There's got to be more in the productivity situation for both sides in the attacking areas.
Jayden Anthony, left-hand side, coming forward for Burnley. They've been doing less of that in the last 5-10 minutes or so. Anthony skips away down that flank once again. Castagna with him. Two of them just kind of waiting, and then it's fired in by Hart. Awkwardly headed towards goal by Fleming and into the arms of Bernd Leno. And that is the best chance. Fleming stealing between Robinson and Bassi, meeting the header at close range, and it just happened to land in Leno's lap.
Well, quite frankly, he should score. I think it's a wonderful bit of play, and it's a really good bit of anticipation from Zian Fleming. The ball's set back, and as they squeeze up Fulham, and he's onside, he makes a wonderful run, Zian Fleming, and he's thinking, let me just get something on it, and I should score. But he's headed it straight at the goalkeeper. And then I don't know what he's done. He's followed through with Leno. I mean, Leno's okay. I mean, these big goalkeepers make a meal of when they get knocked. But it's one of those, to be honest, Nick, you'd have saved.
Oh.
Yeah. You'd have saved it.
Quite know how to feel about
you'd have saved it. It was one of those, a goalkeeper, because it's just hit him.
Yeah, straight in front of him.
Either side, and it's in.
Let's go to Brisbane Road. Goal news, Dave Victor.
Leighton have taken the lead in the 18th minute. It was an excellent tackle by Theo Archibald and a good one down the right hand side. Zeem Abdullah's shot too hot to hold for Will Norris, and there was Mitchell to pounce from close range, his second of the season. Leighton Orient's first of the afternoon. It is Leighton Orient 1, 10 men Wycombe Wanderers 0.
What a different a couple of weeks make for Leighton Orient. As getting down the right hand side goes Castagna for Fulham to the byline, and his cross is blocked by Anthony. The Fulham's first corner of the game down there, right-hand side.
Lovely touch from Harry Wilson, comes in to the sort of inside right position as the ball's playing, flicked it out wide to Castagna, who took an age to control the ball, took an absolute age and allowed the defender to come back and block him.
Here's the corner then, first of the game for the Cottagers. Burnley have had a couple at the other end. Harry Wilson with his right arm raised. He clipped in left-footed. Here's the delivery. It's really awkward. It comes to Castagna, far post, who can't hit the target. Not sure he was expecting it to come to him, really. It teased everybody, that corner.
It's a great ball. Totally cuts the keeper out. I mean, I think the keeper's slightly nudged, but not enough for it to be a foul. And it's just come a bit quick at Castagna at the far post. His job really is to just divert it back into oncoming traffic, but it's a decent ball.
Every time we think Fulham are really clambering into this game, they go back into their shell momentarily, so that chance we'll see. King tries to get hold of this. It's tucked back by Humphreys into the feet of Dubravka, away to our left, and Esteb is going to turn it wide. Hartman has it on the left-hand side, and Burnley are going to go forward. An early high ball by Hartman to try and release Foster, and he has just picked Foster out by the corner flag. Taken away from him by Robinson. The two of them are battling for it. Ogachukwu's won this back, gets away from Bob to the edge of the penalty area. Here's the cross, it's deflected up in the air and goes behind for another corner to Burnley down their right hand side. Ward-Prowse to take it. Another piece of hard work defensively from a Fulham perspective. I thought for a couple of moments they'd sorted that out,
Yeah.
but Agachukwu got back into it.
It was a really good angled ball, and there's a really good battle going on between Anthony Robinson and Lyle Foster on this right hand side in front of us. Fulham's left and Burnley's right, and he wins it, Robinson, but then Agachukwu wins it back, and it becomes a set piece. It seems to be a game of set pieces at the moment, and not very good ones either.
Ward-Prowse with this delivery has to look into the sun as he right-footed swings this out towards the far post, flicked away by Muniz, and then Iwobi will run it away from danger. Hartman with him. Iwobi, I think, wanted to move forward at pace, but he has to go back into the area at the edge of his own penalty area. Now they'll start again. Yeah.
The frustration of the fans going backwards.
Hull 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Jamal Lowe scoring for relegated Sheffield Wednesday. Here's Robinson down the left, keeps it in play just, and then Kyle Walker smashes it out for what I think will be another corner down the left to Fulham. Or is it going to be a throw-in?
Looks like a corner. A decent angle ball again from Alex Iwobi, just slightly overhit, because you're wanting Anthony Robinson to take a touch and cross it, but he couldn't. And again, within seconds, another set piece.
Yeah, another corner. It will be Iwobi to take it right-footed to swing in. Plays it short to King, who sets it now for Iwobi in a crossing position, and then Wilson steers it towards goal, saved by Dubravka. He was unmarked, Harry Wilson, on the edge of the penalty area, and now I think that's Jaden Anthony trying to score from well inside his own half. It doesn't threaten Leno, but Harry Wilson stinging the palms of Martin Dubravka with that placed effort, trying to direct it into the corner, but the goalkeeper saw it through a forest of legs and made the stop.
Well, he hasn't really gone for it, Harry Wilson. He's tried to pass it into the net, but I don't think this is caught as well as he would like. Here's a chance.
Castagna away down the right, 3 in the box, in it comes, half cleared, might fall to Wilson, comes back to Castagna, here is Wilson, tries to curl it just over the top with their fingertips from Dubravka. No, it's a goal kick, and there's been a goal at Loftus Road. Sophie Evans.
26 minutes played and it's QPR 2, Portsmouth 0. Paul Smith just drove through the centre of the pitch. He found Ryan Colley. He was 30 yards out. He had options left and right, but he took it himself and just drove it into the bottom right corner. Take a bow, Ryan Colley. It's QPR 2, Portsmouth 0.
What about this effort from Harry Wilson as he tried to clip it over the goalkeeper?
Yeah, it takes a slight deflection off the defender's chest, but again, Castagna down the right hand side is getting in time and time again. It's just about the quality of cross coming in. Can he improve on that a little bit? That gives Fulham a chance.
Elsewhere, Plymouth 0, Huddersfield 1 in the League One fixtures getting underway at 3 o'clock. Here it's 0-0. Iwobi on halfway with Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse has pulled Alex Iwobi back or caught him in the face, or possibly a combination of the two.
Yeah,
Harry Wilson.
About 3 fouls there.
Yeah, you can take your pick, really.
Yeah.
Harry Wilson's had a couple of efforts for Fulham so far.
Got to get him into the game more. Got to get him in, because you know he's the person capable of producing something out of the ordinary.
But Zian Fleming with the best chance, that close range header that was straight at Leno. Here come Fulham again, ball forward looking for Bob, but it gets away from him and away from Robinson. It goes out for a goal kick for Dubravka to take. As I mentioned, Fulham dropped to 12th in the Premier League table because of that win for Brighton against Liverpool. They are still targeting 7th place. Brentford, who are in 7th, play Leeds at 8 o'clock tonight. Chelsea play at 5:30 tomorrow. Tottenham against Nottingham Forest on 94.9 FM and BBC Sounds, and Aston Villa against West Ham on DAB digital radio, also available for you to listen to the BBC Sport website. Here at Craven Cottage on this lovely sunny day in springtime by the River Thames, it is Fulham 0, Burnley 0. Both sides have had some chances. Robinson chasing this. Is he onside? The flag stayed down. Fires across in as far as Castagna. He can't pick it up, but King can on the right hand side. Coming forward for the Cottagers, goes on the outside of his man. Low cross coming in. Wilson volleys it towards goal. Did that strike Humphrey's hand? The referee doesn't look interested, to be fair, neither do the Fulham players. There was a bit of interest from some people who saw the hand, or seemed to see the hand struck. Here's King again on that right side, keeping it alive for Fulham. Burge steps in, Iwobi inside the D, it'll funnel ball forward but past everybody including Josh King and Rodrigo Muniz, and it's easily swallowed up by Dubravka, who bowls it out quickly. Here come Burnley, but then Walker stops. Just won't fall for the right Fulham player at the right time. Oh, and there's an awful pass by the much decorated England international as this ball forward for Muniz again runs through to Dubravka. But yeah, it just wouldn't fall for the right player, would it?
No, it wouldn't. Couldn't quite get it under control. And they've got to keep their foot forward for me, Fulham. Got to keep pressing Burnley because they'll give you back the ball. They haven't got the quality Fulham have got, but you know, I think Fulham have to get after them and really go and be in their faces. But again, there seems to be this not passiveness, but this lack of real urgency in Fulham's play.
There's been another goal at Loftus Road. Sophie Evans.
We've just gone past the half-hour mark, and it's QPR 3, Portsmouth 0. Harvey Vale with fantastic ball in behind for Paul Smith, who slotted it home to get his brace. They've lost their last 3 home matches here. You wouldn't be able to tell that this afternoon. It's QPR 3, Portsmouth 0.
Fulham on the attack, 0-0 here. Iwobi just outside the penalty area. Little dink ball for Robinson into the 6-yard box. Scrambled away by Humphreys. There's another a muted appeal for handball, not given. Walker is going to try and run this away from danger. Oh, he's now Nissi made a complete mess of that, and then Bob tried to get round him, and the 2 former Manchester City players were going hammer and tong, but Walker clears, and he was getting harassed by the youngster there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Walker tried a fancy flick that didn't work either. Instead of clearing it first, nearly put themselves in trouble.
Iwobi's ball forward too far in front of Muniz.
I don't mind that, because that's someone trying something progressive, because you need to be doing that rather than passing it backwards and sideways. I don't mind you giving the ball away trying to do something positive.
They're trying to play out from the back here, Burnley. Humphreys towards halfway. And the shove was there by Foster. Yes, there was on Robinson. A little push in the back. What's going on at Loftus Road, by the way?
Whatever it is, they've got to keep it going.
Yeah.
And can it please happen at the Valley as well?
Well, as I said, Paul's got a number of dogs in the fight this afternoon. Here's Iwobi through the middle of the field once again. Runners ahead of him. Wilson tries to turn it forward for Muniz. Cleared away. Can Burge win it back? No. Burnley trying to play through the middle with Hartman and Anthony on that left-hand side. Helped on by Laurent down the channel, but I think Castagna's got this situation under control. He's going to roll it all the way back to Calvin Bassey, away to our right-hand side. Still 0-0. Half chances so far for Fulham, nothing more than that really. The efforts from Muniz and a couple from Wilson. Really good chance for Burnley in the shape of Zian Fleming, whose header was straight at Bernd Leno. Here's Iwobi down the left. Fulham are really trying to turn the screw here. Burnley hanging together. This is Sander Burge centrally, runs away from Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse keeps at him. It's Bob back to Burge, and now Iwobi is going to scuttle infield and bring Joachim Andersen into the attack. The sun is starting to get a little lower in the sky. The fans in front of us, who are blessed with the sunshine, are all having to watch on with their eyes squinting. Here come Burnley down the left. It was Iwobi who gave it away, given to Ward-Prowse on the halfway line, and this goes back deep into the Burnley half of the field. And Dubravka back to the Valley. Louis Mendes, any change in the score?
32 on the clock, still Charlton 0, Norwich 1, could have been 2 again, because Visgarden with a shot that went across the face of the goal. Charlton's just come to life in the last couple of moments. Kyrus Campbell's just seen a shot deflected just wide. It's still Charlton 0, Norwich 1.
Let's pop down the road to Plough Lane. How are Wimbledon getting on against Peterborough? Izzy Gilligan.
It's Wimbledon 0, Peterborough 0. The Posh had a nicely positioned free kick but sent it straight into the wall of Wimbledon defenders, so no joy there. For the home side, Miles Hippolyte has hit the post, but that's the closest they've come. Wimbledon 0, Peterborough 0.
Let's go to Brisbane Road, shall we? Leyton Orient against Wickham. Dave Victor.
Leyton Orient had the all-important advantage against the 10 men, and it's their left back Daniel Harvey is being spoken to now by Simon Mather for a tassel with Theo Archibald. It's not the first of the afternoon. Leyton Orient with the important advantage. It's Leyton Orient 1, 10 men Wickham Wanderers 0.
Thank you, Dave. Here comes Kyle Walker over the halfway line, and suddenly he's got a lot of space to work with here. Approaching the edge of the box, clips it wide to Anthony. Given to Hartman, edge of the penalty area. Here's the cross, headed away by Anderson. Back out to Anthony on that side. I don't know what the Fulham midfield was doing there, but he just seemed to melt away in front of Kyle Walker. They've got back in a more organised fashion now. Anthony and Ward-Prowse once again. Has to go back to Humphreys, and all of a sudden Fulham are pinned back inside their own third.
Oh, it's a terrible pass.
It is. Humphreys just gave it, or presented the ball almost straight to Oscar Bob. Here's Foster, and Walker stayed forward, rolls it back to Bashir Humphreys just inside the centre circle. Going to go to Hayes Lane in a second. In fact, why don't we go there now, find out what Ryan Matthews makes of Bromley Colchester.
It's still Bromley 0, Colchester United 0, but Colchester will wonder how they're not in the lead here. Another gilt-edged chance as Jaden Williams was played in the box. The on-loan Tottenham man, unmarked, smashed a left-footed strike wide from about 8 yards. Bromley have had one chance through Will Hondermark a couple of minutes ago, saved well AC, but the away side are doing all the running here. Bromley need to improve. Bromley 0, Colchester United 0.
2 balls on the pitch here momentarily, that won't do. And so, which one are we getting rid of? Bernd Leno, like a tennis player, has got 2 to choose from now before he bowls it back out to the touchline, and a throw in for Timothy Castagna to take on that far side of the field in front of that impressive Riverside stand, which looms over the far side of this Craven Cottage playing surface. As the boat race is upcoming, isn't it? It'll play a big role in the camera footage you see of the boats making their way along the Thames. Maybe they just turn the cameras around, couldn't they? They could have just point them the other way. Save loads of money. Here's Wilson, brought down, but the referee's allowed the game to continue. Here's Alex Iwobi through the middle of the field, waiting for options. One of them is Castagna. Early ball into the feet of King, who tries to get the cross in. It's a corner. Rodrigo Muniz is convinced it should be something more than that. He says it's a foul, or is it a handball?
I think he probably clipped his hand, but there's absolutely nothing he can do because it rears up off of the defender. I'm not quite sure it was. He's blocked it. It's hit his hand. Is there a booking coming on?
There's a yellow card being shown here. In fact, I think it might be for the challenge earlier. Jaden Anthony, I think, has been shown. No, so Josh Lauren has been booked for a challenge up the pitch earlier.
Yeah. I see that as we see it again. Yeah,
for that one.
It hit his hand as he was falling on the floor, but absolutely nothing he can do about that. Absolutely nothing he can do about that. Yeah, and you see the tackle.
Yeah, it is a corner. That's the tackle that got Lauren booked. It was miles away from the goal, but after the play was allowed to continue, it is a corner. Wilson to take it again down the right, left-footed, swings in. Harry Wilson's moaning about something to the assistant referee who's standing next to him. Now the message comes in, whipped in near post, headed away by Fleming for Burnley. Well, Robinson slightly underhit that pass, and it's forced Iwobi just to sort of crack that out of play, and that was a promising position, frittered away. And there's a few Fulham fans who are a bit put out by what they're seeing so far.
Yep, just about to say there's a few boos going on around here and mutterings of discontent because that was sloppy play from Fulham, and it's kind of how this half has gone for them. It's just not been good enough. It's not been good enough.
Again, talked about 7th place and it being an option, possibly being the only option for Fulham at the end of this season. Now here come Burnley again, still 0-0. It's with Quincy Hartman and wide to Anthony down the left. Sutton taking the lead against Truro in the National League. Oh, so I beg your pardon. Truro taking the lead at Sutton. It's quite a significant piece of information that I need to get right. But yes, a long journey that for either sets of fan base actually. That's a long way from each other. Truro and Sutton, my goodness.
Yeah.
Bassi wins that header. Bob brings it down and Anderson turns it back to Leno, who hasn't had much to do other than get in the way of that Fleming header in this first half. Now Fleming's coming back for an offside position, so can't really interfere with Calvin Bassi, but yet with 39 minutes near enough on the clock in this first half, Murmurings of discontent getting louder.
Very little has happened. You know, I'm thinking if Marco Silva's got a hairdryer, is it going to be the old hairdryer? But having said that, I watched him walk across the pitch and he was in all black. He looked like a very small version of the milk tray man. So maybe it might be chocolates he'll throw against the wall,
maybe,
rather than teacups.
Is Burge wide to Robinson, bit of space for him to use down the left, floated cross, headed away by Walker at the near post, comes out to Sander Burge once again. Something in my ear tells me we are going to have to go back to Loftus Road for yet another goal, which is extraordinary given there's only 40 minutes on the clock. Let's do it now. Sophie.
Clean sheet denied. It's QPR 3, Portsmouth 1. The ball fell out to John Swift and he was 25 yards out, and just from nowhere he fired it into the bottom left corner, much to the surprise of keeper Joe Walsh. They've clawed one back. It's QPR 3, Portsmouth 1.
Fulham coming forward. This is Iwobi on the right hand side into Wilson, halfway inside Burnley territory. Goes back to Anderson, into Wilson again. He's going to try and play this forward. Lovely little turn by King. And now Muniz with his back to goal turns and shoots. It's blocked. More appeals for a penalty. Once again, nothing doing from Mr. Kavanagh. Cleared away as far as Iwobi. And there's a goal at Plough Lane. Izzy Gilligan.
Yes, there has. The Dons are in front. They lead Peterborough 1-0. It was a lovely set piece from the home side. It was an odd delivery along the byline from Steve Seddon. And then Zach Nelson, with his first touch of the game, delivered it to Marcus Brown, who got his 13th of the season. Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 0.
Castagna with an innocuous cross. Well won back by Robinson. He's going to send this in early, looking for Wilson. It's headed away. Then Ogachukwu clears to the halfway line. They're trying Fulham. It's not really working though, and James Ward-Prowse suddenly motors forward, and he's done well to ride two challengers. Lyle Foster takes too many touches.
Poor.
None of that was very good. I mean, this has not been a very good game of football, is it really? Let's be honest. And the Fulham fans know it. Best league in the world. Here's Iwobi. Now Muniz gets it stuck underneath his feet. Gives it back to Iwobi, driving at the edge of the box. Now Bob, left edge of the penalty area. Iwobi goes outside him and he's overhit the pass. Didn't really know where Iwobi was. And there have been a series of poor bits of football in the last couple of minutes, which has basically summed up the opening 41 minutes. Is this a handball? No, it's not. As Muniz shot, it hit the Burnley player's foot and came up in the air and hit the side of his body. Don't think you can give a penalty for that. And well, we talked about the Premier League, you know, being a poor division this year. This has been a narrative, and if you watch the opening half here, you'd struggle to disagree with that.
Well, I mean, Fulham in spells have looked like 11 strangers that met in the car park and said, "You fancy a kickabout?" Because they've just then that showed with Oscar Bob and Iwobi they're out of sync, not quite understanding each other at the moment, and you do get that every now and again. You do, but I think it's happened far too often for Fulham.
Volleyed away from danger by Humphreys, high into the sky, and Calvin Bassey has to canter back into his own half of the field to make sure that reaches Bern Leno. We've got 3 minutes of the first half to go. These Fulham supporters quite like their team to do a bit more, particularly in the final third.
Well, what you see is everything being so slow. And when it does work, it's because there's 1 and 2 touch play and it's really quick and sharp. When it's slow, it's very easy to defend against.
Castagna level with the edge of the box. Here's King. Turns away from 3 Burnley players. Goes all the way back to Burge. And I thought if this goes back to Leno, they won't like it. So Shersham Anderson's got a decision to make here. None of them want to go back to the goalkeeper because they know it'll irritate the home support. Here's a bit of space for Calvin Bassey to use. Forward to Oscar Bob, who gives it to Iwobi now and then runs forward. Iwobi wants things to open up in front of him. They don't. He offers the ball to Burge, wide to Castagna on the right. We're going to go back to Plough Lane in a second. Now here's Wilson in the crossing position. Lovely dink ball, flicked away by Walker. Oh, and then there's Lyle Foster tries to clear it and makes a mistake. The referee, as it bounces out of play, gives a goal kick. Let's clear up what's happened at Plough Lane with Izzy.
Well, the first goal that we thought Marcus Brown had scored had been chalked off for offside, but I can tell you that the Wimbledon are now 1-0 up. Ryan Johnson's left-footed shot from another lovely corner from Steve Seddon, and the Dons have the lead just before half-time. Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 0.
Well, that means my piece of paper isn't ruined, so I'm happy about that. Otherwise I'll have to scribble a goal out. It's a goal kick here for Dubravka to take, and we've got a minute or so to go before half-time. And I have to say, quite a few people in the Johnny Haynes stand are voting with their feet. at the moment and deciding that possibly something refreshing on this warm spring afternoon might be better than watching this.
I suggest it's something to keep them awake, because this has been, it has been so passive and sedate.
Ponderous.
It's been ponderous. No urgency at all. You know what it is like? It's like the back end of the season.
Well,
a penultimate game of the season, nothing to play on.
But that is really worrying, because it makes these fans think that these players think that.
Yeah, they don't. They just cannot raise it.
Here's Walker's throw for Burnley into the Fulham box, headed away. Ward-Prowse tries to send it back into the mix. Cleared by Mooney. I think Mooney's has cleared more balls in his own box than he's touched it in the opponent's box. I think
possible.
That might be a slight exaggeration, but if it is just that. It is a slight exaggeration and nothing more than that. It's clipped forward once again for Iwobi. Ward-Prowse wins it back. Here's Humphreys, gives it to Ogachukwu, who goes back to Carl Walker just inside the Fulham half of the field. Ward-Prowse once again. Here's Walker.
The fourth official has indicated there'll be a minimum
three more minutes. Here's Anthony down the left. He's been challenged by Castagna.
Decent angle ball from right in front of us. 50-yard angle ball to Jadon Anthony. Didn't control it as well as he'd have liked. But like I said, it's that lack of creative spark that both teams. I mean, they're huffing and puffing. They're working hard. There's no disputing that. But that lack of creative spark is evident with both teams when they get into the attacking third. No one's prepared to take a risk.
The exciting news, Paul, is we've got another 2.5 minutes of this to enjoy before half-time. Here's a long throw into the Fulham box, goes out of play.
Yeah, I mean, that highlights everything that hasn't really worked.
We're trying for you here, folks. We really are. But they are not giving us a great deal to work with. Scott Parker, of course, well known in these parts, finished his playing career, became caretaker manager, took the job on a full-time basis as well, got promoted and got relegated. It's a familiar pattern, I think it's fair to say, with Scott Parker in teams at the top of the Championship and the bottom of the Premier League. Here's Walker at right back into Josh Lauren, who turns away from Robinson twice and plays it forward for Ogachukwu, who runs into Bassi, and then Bassi and him are still going at it. In the end, it's been dug out by Anderson. And then Burge is fouled by Fleming, and it's a free kick to Fulham inside their own half of the field. Zian Fleming saying, "You're joking, are you?" But it very definitely is not, and that is totally in keeping, as I said, with what has been really quite a boring first 45 minutes of football. We don't set up with any relish, because we've all come here to see a game. Everyone's come here and paid good money, paid a lot of money, some people, to watch this, as that ball runs away from Castagna on the right. And this, I mean, he could just stop it now, really, because every time anyone tries to do anything, the ball goes out of play, or it hits a defender, or it runs away, or there's a miscontrol.
Well, it's not been good enough, because, you know, too many overhit passes, too many players out of sync, coming short and the ball's gone long, and vice versa. Everyone needs a reset. Everyone needs half-time to sit and really reset and think about what they want to do, because this game is there to be won. But at this moment in time, neither team really looks like they want to win it.
It's still very much 0-0, and we've got about 30 seconds of the 3 minutes to go. Ward-Prowse has lifted that into the air. Calvin Bassi lets it bounce and then nods it out to Robinson, who volleys it into a more central position. While Walker has got Oscar Bob putting him under pressure, and they're giving it to Muniz here, who races down the flank, and then Humphreys has put it out, so Fulham have gained some territory from a Walker mistake. And are they going to have time to make the most of this throw-in? We're now in the 4th minute of added time. We're only supposed to play 3. Anthony Robinson's going to stick this in the mixer, and the referee will then probably blow his whistle. He may allow the ball to bounce in the box, but not much longer than that. Here's the throw, flicked on by Walker and grabbed by Dubravka, and the referee's blown his whistle. And that was whatever the opposite of a lovely, exhilarating spring day out at Craven Cottage. The first 45 minutes has been the opposite of that, because it was pretty listless. Best chances for Fulham falling to Harry Wilson, 2 efforts, 1 save, the other one just over the top. Burnley had the best chance really, across from the left, and Zian Fleming with a full stretch header. It was so close though to Bernd Leno, it just hit it. Those little blizzard of chances came in the middle of the half. Either side of that, it was pretty poor fare, and if Fulham are going to close the gap on 7th and try and keep this season alive and keep a European qualification spot push up and running, dare I say, they're going to have to play an awful lot better than that. Half-time, Fulham 0, Burnley 0.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
Well, Nick Godwin and Paul Mortimer watching that one. I'm not even sure that Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney can make that one sound exciting. Let's go back to Paul Mortimer, shall we? We've just been working out 6.5 hours since Fulham last scored a goal. Is there any lipstick you can apply to this particular peak of a game?
There is no lipstick I can. Honestly, it feels like the penultimate game of the season where both teams are safe and they have nothing to play for. It really feels like that, whereas both teams definitely have something to play for, but there's this caution between them both, and a genuine lack of quality in the final third. And I mean, for me, Fulham, the home side, they're playing against the team that's second bottom, who can't raise a point, don't worry about win a game, and you wouldn't know which team was second bottom. I've got to say, Fulham have just, it's as poor as I've seen them perform for a 45 minutes, I have to say. I was saying to Nick here, I wonder if there is a Portuguese version of the hairdryer, but then I saw Marco Silva walk by, and he's in all black, and he just reminded me of a very short version of the milk tray man. So maybe it might be chocolates he'll be throwing against the wall rather than teacups, but he's got to do something to liven this, because they've been passive, really passive, and lacking urgency, and it's been quite comfortable for Dubravka in the Burnley goal, which I didn't think it would be.
No. It's yes, as you say. What can he do at half-time, or what can he do into the start of the second half if he needs to shake this up a little bit? Looking at the bench, Smith Rowe for a bit of dribbling, Chukwueze.
It's the mindset. For me, it's the mindset, Phil. Right. It's the mindset isn't right. It's, what they should be doing is getting after them. I think they should have played more direct, got the ball up the pitch, put Burnley on the back foot, and really got after them, got the ball wide, because the times when they have been successful is when they've moved it quickly. They've got it wide, got a cross in, got it into Muniz quickly, who could shoot. They've played quick 1 and 2 touch stuff, but there just hasn't been enough of that. It feels like their energy isn't there. That's what it feels like. It feels like they're having to conserve energy to burst forward, and then they've got to power down for a few minutes. That's what it feels like. And this is against Burnley, by the way, who to be truthfully honest, you're expecting to really put on the rack and beat, but it's just not. It's nowhere near a team that's has ambitions of playing in Europe this season, next season. Nowhere near.
Well, let's hope the second half is better. Paul and Nick, maybe quite a strong cup of coffee is what they're going to need at half time, just to keep them going and give them a little bit of stimulus for the second half. In the Championships, no other Premier League games apart from, of course, Liverpool losing at Brighton and Hove Albion. Danny Welbeck with both goals for Liverpool, who also lost Ekitike early in that game as well. In the Championship today, Middlesbrough 0-0 at Blackburn, Derby 1, Birmingham 0, and Ipswich 1, Millwall 1. Reaction to that shortly. Elsewhere in the Championship today, plenty of goals. If they're not getting them at Fulham, they are getting them somewhere else in the borough, and it's at Loftus Road. Sophie Evans.
Plenty of goals here at Loftus Road. At half-time, it's QPR 3, Portsmouth 1. The Ars took the lead just 7 minutes in. Harvey Vale's shot was blocked, but it fell into the path of Paul Smith, who curled it into the top right corner from outside the area, backflipping his way to the left corner flag to celebrate. Ryan Colley made it too with an absolute beauty. Smith found him 30 yards out, and he drilled it into the bottom right corner. Smith got his brace for his side's third goal inside half an hour. Harvey Vale played a lovely ball in behind for him, and he swept it home before treating the crowd to more somersaults. But Julian Stefan's side side were denied a clean sheet in the 38th minute when John Swift's long-range effort found its way into the bottom left corner. QPR are on track for their first win in their last 4 Championship home matches. At the break, it's QPR 3, Portsmouth 1.
Sophie, thanks very much. Bristol City trail 1-0 at home to West Bromwich Albion. What about Charlton at home to Norwich City? Louis Mendes.
Half-time, Charlton 0, Norwich 1. The goal early in this one for the Canaries. Pel Matson with his first for the club since signing from Silkeborg in the summer. Given space on the edge of the box to pick his spot beyond Will Mannion. Could have been 2, could have been 3. Kvistgaarden and Magoma have both come close. Mannion saving well from Magoma. Kvistgaarden just sending one across the face of goal and wide. Trying to have had a couple of half moments at the other end. Chambers has seen a volley blocked behind for a corner. Campbell, a shot that was deflected wide as well. If the Addicts are to go on and win this one, they're going to have to do something they haven't done in a long time. 12 games at home with no first half goal. They've not scored more than once at home since October. That's 15 games. Half time, it's Charlton 0, Norwich 1.
Thank you very much indeed, Louis. Hull City 2-1 up against Sheffield Wednesday. Wednesday took the lead in that game. Sheffield United Wrexham goalless. Southampton 2-0 up against relegation threatened Oxford. Watford against Leicester goalless at this moment in time. Let's go into League One then, where earlier today Blackpool drew 0-0 at Cardiff and Luton and Stockport drew 1 apiece. It's half time at Brisbane Road, looking to make it 4 on the bats. Leyton Orient home to Wickham. Dave Victor. Let's go elsewhere then in League One then, shall we? AFC Wimbledon at home to Peterborough United. Desi Gilligan.
Yes, it's half-time. Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 0. The visitors showed the early threats, forcing Joe McDonald to make 2 saves in the opening 5 minutes. But once things settled down, Wimbledon found their groove a bit more, and they head in at half-time a goal up. They thought they'd gone ahead through Marcus Brown, only for the flag to go up, but momentum did not slow down. And moments later, Ryan Johnson from Steve Seddon's corner put the Dons ahead, getting his 4th of the season with a nice left-footed finish. 2 injuries for Wimbledon, however. Matty Stevens and Miles Hippolyte were forced off, with Omar Bugil and Zach Nelson coming on. The energy did stay with the home side for the remainder of the half, and they could have had more goals, but for now it's just the 1. Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 0.
Looking to recover from back-to-back defeats to Wimbledon, to Orient and to Stevenage last weekend. Barnsley Doncaster goalless. Burton 1-0 up against Bradford. Leyton Orient leading, by the way, against Wycombe Wanderers by a goal to 0. Lincoln 3-0 up against Rotherham. What a story and a season the Imps are having. Mansfield 1-0 up against Northampton. Plymouth Trail 1-0 at home to Huddersfield. Port Vale 1-0 up against Bolton. Stevenage Reading goalless. And Wigan 1, Exeter 0, and Exeter sliding towards the wrong end of the table themselves. In League 2 earlier today, Barnet beat Milton Keynes 3-1. Reaction to that shortly. And it was a 1-0 win for Cambridge United against Salford. It means that Bromley can stretch their lead at the top of the table. They're at home to Colchester United. Ryan Matthews.
Half-time, Bromley 0, Colchester United 0. Bromley with work to do in the second half after a first half dominated for the most part by a spirited Colchester side. The visitors should have taken the lead on the 15-minute mark, having a shot cleared off the line from Reed and Lisby smashing the rebound off the post. The first clear-cut chance for Bromley fell to Will Hondermark. His drive was saved on the half hour by Matt Macy. Williams then missed a gilt-edged chance for the visitors immediately afterwards, slotting wide from 8 yards when it looked easier to score. Bromley in truth did stir in the final minutes of the half, with chances for Kabamba, Medley and Ashley Charles rattling the crossbar, with a potential penalty shout also denied as Jude Arthur's shot spat up towards the arm, potentially, of a Colchester defender. Work to do in the second half if they're going to stretch that lead at the top of the table. It's Bromley 0, Colchester United 0.
Where in League 2, Fleetwood goalless with Crawley. Gillingham 1-0 up against Bristol Rovers. Grimsby 2-0 up against Barrow, who look as if they are heading towards the National League. Notts County 2-2 with Cheltenham. Oldham Harrogate 0-0 at the moment. Crewe 2-0 up at Shrewsbury. 2 early goals there. Tranmere goalless with Swindon. And Newport leading Walsall by a goal to 0. Let's go back to League 1. Dave Victor's watching Leyton Orient against Wycombe.
It's Leyton Orient 1, Wycombe Wanderers 0. The main talking point came in the 8th minute. Don Ballard through on goal, pulled back on the edge of the box by Taylor Allen, who was immediately shown a red card by Simon Mather. 10 minutes later and the breakthrough came after an excellent tackle on the right hand side by Theo Archibald, who pressed forward and he found Azim Abdullahi, who set up Demi Mitchell. His initial shot was spilt by goalkeeper Will Norris, and Mitchell was on hand to grab his second of the season. But the 10 men dug deep after a double substitution from Michael Duff, and in the 23rd minute it was Taylor's drive which forced an excellent block by Will Forrester, the captain celebrating as if he'd scored, and then strong penalty appeals in the 43rd minute. Jack Simpson with the touch on Olidima, and the referee gave the advantage to the O's. That was very, very fortunate from an Orient perspective. Leyton Orient 1, Wycombe Wanderers 0.
In the National League, thanks Dave. Truro City leading at Sutton United by a goal to 0. Wealdstone are trailing at home as well by a goal to 0 as well. Are they at home? I thought they were away. Yeah, they're away, aren't they, at Forest Green Rovers. In rugby, it's a half-time scoreline for Harlequins. They're 14-7 up against Gloucester. The early commentary game we brought you, Millwall with a 1-1 draw at Ipswich, behind at the break. Only 1-0, could have been more. Ipswich dominated that first half. Millwall recovered in the second half and got themselves a share of the spoils. Alex Neil gave his reaction to Emma Jones after the game.
How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, I'm feeling better than what I did at half time. I think first half, to be fair to Ipswich, I thought they were better in the first half. We didn't really want to go all the way through in the first half. We still pressed the ball the same way we normally do, but I just thought they moved it really, really well. I thought they were threatening. I didn't think they had loads to do. I think Parker makes one really good save in the first half, and then obviously they get the goal. I thought other than that, I thought the pressure, but in terms of them building and having the momentum and sort of moving the ball better than we did was quite evident in the first half. We had a couple of little bits. Camille down the left, we shot. I think we had one down the right hand side as well, but it wasn't really enough. You know, we needed to do something. Certainly when they scored before half time, I needed to then, I've only got two options at that point. Do we really sort of go for it and sort of play right on top of them? And if you do that, there's always going to be two outcomes. There's going to be, we get the next goal and potentially go on and win it, and it's going to be really good, or it could get a little bit messy, you know. And I think what we do need to pay reference to is the fact that these are the best team at home in the league, you know. So it certainly wasn't going to be an easy game, but certainly for that second half performance, I was extremely proud of the players, how they attacked it, their aggression, the sort of desire to win, the lack of fear, if you like, in the second half in terms of who they're up against and where we are. And yeah, I thought we deserved a point, and we could have nicked it at the end. We had some good opportunities at the end.
Barnet had a big win today as well. Milton Keynes 3-1. They conceded an early goal. Kieran Slicker, the goalkeeper, making a right hash of it, but he saved a penalty later on. Dean Brennan is the Barnet manager.
Yeah, we deserved. I thought it was a fully deserved victory. We played on the front foot. We got after the opposition. We stopped the technical players playing, and I thought we fully deserved that victory.
Excellent stuff. Didn't start too well. A little bit of an error from your keeper. What were your feelings then?
Look, it happens in football. You see it happening at the top level. So what happens in the Premier League and the Champions League, it's going to happen in A level. So I thought he showed good character, and when we needed him, I said to him at half time, we're going to need you to make a big save within this game. He made a fantastic save from a penalty. So that's what I want to talk about, the positive, not the negative.
Back in the dugout, Cambridge, how excited are you?
My God, hallelujah. The Lord is with me. I got a 9-game ban for something I don't believe I did that wrong in, but that's the way life is. I've had to accept that ban. We've only won 3 games, and them 9 games I've missed. I just can't wait to be back down there screaming and shouting like a mad Irishman.
How have things been in those games where you maybe wanted to get on there, but you know you've just had to leave it to your staff?
It's been so hard. Obviously I'm an experienced manager. I've been doing it 14 years, and to be fair to young Connor, he's done a great job. He's a young lad starting out his career. He's done a great. All the staff have done a great job. But just things I can see happening in game where I know I can get the information across. I've got to get on the phone, ring down to the bench. So it's like 20 seconds later, 40 seconds later. So look, I'm just delighted to get back in there. So we're looking forward to next week. Another great game for us.
Yes, well, let's hope it's a great second half at Craven Cottage, shall we? Because the first wasn't. Paul Mortimer and Nick Godwin will be watching for us. I've got to also mention this, and brave little soldier, good to see that Bernd Leno is still able to play in the second half. He's in the tunnel, Paul and Nick, because was it the Oscars? Was it this week, the Oscars, or last week? I can't quite remember now, but he was right up there, I think, for Best Supporting Actor with the merest of touches from Zian Fleming, and Bernd Leno went down as if he'd been thumped by Lennox Lewis. It's quite embarrassing. Football's got a problem, I think, Paul, with the amount of play acting that's going on.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I think he was starring in the film called The Broken Fingernail, and it charted high on the raspberries. So it wasn't very good. I mean, there's far too much of that for me, and I think that officials should start to do something about it. I really do. Too much rolling about. I feel sorry for officials sometimes, because how do you tell someone's really injured when everyone's rolling about and then 2 seconds later get up like Lazarus and sprint? It's ridiculous.
Certainly is. Well, let's hope we're talking about the football in the second half with you and Nick, and I'm sure it will be. You're doing a sterling job, by the way, Nick, keeping this one going for us this afternoon. Thoroughly entertaining, unlike the Fulham and Burnley players. Let's hope they are so in the second half.
Well, I'm doing my best. I haven't even done the Saturday Mike Live skit yet, so I mean, we've got that to look forward to as well in the second half. But it was a really poor first half, and again, it's one of those first halves where it's such a slog. You don't even really realise how bad it is until you kind of step back, because you're trying to find things to talk about. You're trying to look for ways of changing the monotony of players just making mistakes all the time. And I wonder if Marco Silva has had to say a bit of that to those players at the break, Paul.
Well, he's got to have said something. And you know what? The first 10 minutes will tell us what he said. Because they should, for me, it's one of those, they come out early with a fleeing area, because that was not good enough. That was nowhere near the Fulham that we'd seen maybe a couple of months ago when Harry Wilson was flying. It's just too passive, and remember who they're playing against as well. This is not a team above them or looking to win the title or anything like that. This is a team who have struggled all season to register shots on target, and they've struggled, Fulham. Cumbersome and lacking urgency and lacking quality.
Well, you'll be very pleased to know that the game's back underway, everyone, so we can hopefully enjoy a revival in the football that we've been watching so far. I did look at social media during half-time, and someone said that the first half of Fulham against Burnley was the greatest argument for the 3 p.m. TV football blackout that there's ever been made, which I thought was quite funny, and it's indicative, really. Here come Fulham, with Anderson, who lofts the ball into the Burnley penalty area. It's headed away, and Laurent's going to try and bring it back under control. A long stretching leg from Berge wins it back for the Cottagers, though, and they're on the halfway line once again. No changes for Fulham at half-time. Leno in goal, Castagna, Bassi, Anderson and Robinson at the back. This ball's looking for Harry Wilson, who brings it down beautifully on that right-hand side, running at the edge of the penalty area. Castagna's just behind him. Here he is on the ball. Square for Anderson. Now for Bassi and Robinson on that left-hand side. The midfield is Iwobi, Berge and King, with Bob and Wilson wide and Muniz through the middle. Still got it, Fulham, and it is Iwobi moving in field. Plays it square for Wilson, who's popped up in a good position. There's a foot in by one of the Burnley defenders to take it away from him, but he's managed to get it wide to Castagna. And then King running in field, the youngster. Square for Calvin Bassi. And Robinson combining with Bob on that flank. Iwobi involved as well. Here is Bob into the penalty area now, takes it to the byline. Here's the cross, goes over everyone, flicked behind by Jayden Anthony for a corner for Fulham. Their fourth of the game, their first of this second half.
And that's a better attack down the left-hand side, and you saw the difference. Good 1 and 2 touch play and people making runs. Oscar Bob makes a decent run and moves in at pace. The only shame was that when it was clipped in, most of the Fulham players had gone to the near post, and it was clipped to near the far post, and there weren't enough players there from Fulham.
Corner played short. Here's Wilson, left-footed. Curls it towards the far post, and he's snatched out of the air by Dubravka, who's in goal for Burnley. A back four of Walker, Humphreys, Esteve and Hartman. In midfield, Laurent, Ward-Prowse and Ogachukwu, with Foster wide on one side, Anthony on the other, and Fleming through the middle of the field. On the bench for these two sides, we've already had the Burnley bench called upon, but Fulham have got Kearney, Chukwueze, Diop, Jimenez, Lecomte, Lukic, Reed, Sessegnon and Smith Rowe. And for the visitors, Barnes, Broja, Edwards, Ekdal, Florentino, Chauna, Weiss and Warren. Those are the alternatives that these managers have. Scott Parker and Marco Silva, if they want to change this second half substantially. Another ball forward is easily cut out by Hartman on this near side. Runs into King, bounces out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in. which Hartman is going to take. He's got a bandage on that left hand of his, so he's letting his right hand do most of the work with this throw in front of the Johnny Haynes stand, which is now bathed in golden late afternoon spring sunshine. Brave header by Bassi to find Iwobi, and here's King now, lets it run across him and drives at the edge of the penalty area. He's been challenged on the edge of the box, and it's cleared by Esteve towards the halfway line. Sutton 0, Truro 2 in the National League. This is the only Premier League game kicking off at 3 o'clock, but there's lots going on in the EFL. Plenty of big stories being made as well, actually, with QPR in charge at home to Portsmouth, as this has been given away by Fulham on the edge of their own box, by the edge of the Burnley box, I should say. It gives Jayden Anthony the chance to try and take on Harry Wilson on this side of the field. Into Hartman, who's challenged by Burge. It goes out for a throw into Fulham. They are at least trying to, if nothing else, get territory on their side and push Burnley back.
They are. There's no disputing that Burnley can't get out of their half. But that's about it, really. There's not really been much else.
Sheffield United 1, Wrexham 0. Andre Brooks with the goal for Sheffield United. Spare a thought for the Hollywood A-listers who will be disappointed by that scoreline. Esteve is going to clear this ball downfield, a high one that Castagna allows to bounce and then heads powerfully back into the arms of Bernd Leno, who, as Phil was mentioning, made a bit of a fuss of Sian Fleming's challenge, but other than that had very little to do really in that first half. Dubravka had a bit more to do. Not a lot though. Ooh, Anderson invites the challenge from Fleming just by playing the ball a bit short. It cannons off the former Millwall man and runs into no man's land. It's been dealt with in the end by Calvin Bassi, but a warning shot across Fulham's bows that they're not going to have it all their own way.
It's a bit of sloppy play, really.
Again,
they've just got to tighten up a little bit more. It's just a little bit too much sloppy play for, I think, for Marcus Silva's liking, I would suggest.
King on the halfway line for Fulham. Back to Burge, who gives it to Anderson, rolls it forward for Muniz, who's going to help that wide to Iwobi on this right-hand side. Cross into the box, flicked away at the near post. It's going to come back into the danger zone. Is this going to walk in? No, it hasn't. Then Wilson shoots, saved by the goalkeeper, and the flag goes up anyway. It wouldn't have counted. A series of errors inside the 6-yard box, and I don't know whether it would have counted from Wilson's snapshot that was well saved by Dubravka. It was Iwobi who started it on the right. His cross was into the path of King, and his header, as Wilson was coming back from the touchline, when he headed it, King, Wilson was offside.
He was, but the first time, King's header, and it comes off, I think, Oscar Bob's foot. It's a wonderful save from Dubravka, first of all. The minute it pops out again, he's offside, but the first aspect, really good save.
King driving forward, goes on the outside of one man, he's still going, King. Can he finish it off? Great save, Dubravka. Follow up from Muniz is wide. Well, that would have been one of the goals of the season by Josh King, who still hasn't got a Premier League goal to his name. But he sliced through that Burnley defence and looked for all the world as though he was going to crown it with a good finish. But Dubravka with the save, and Muniz put the rebound wide. What a moment that would have been.
Really good play from Josh King. Showed real good strength for one so slight. You know, holding off a couple of people in the end, and just. See, I'm thinking he hits that with his left foot. He's got more of an open goal to hit, but he's in it with his right foot. It's a good save from Dubravka again. He's been far more busy in the last 2 minutes than really he has been in the last half. Sorry.
There's a little bit of the Maradona about that from King. I don't know. Hasn't got quite the low centre of gravity that Maradona had, but that ability to just glide away from trouble.
Yeah, he's strong as well.
Yeah,
he's strong.
Would have been comfortably the shining light of the afternoon, as it is at the moment. It's still 0-0 with 7.5 minutes of the second half play. But King with the best moment really in a Fulham shirt so far today. And Burnley currently penned in their own half once more. A reminder, tomorrow we'll air at 2 o'clock for commentary on FM and BBC Sounds of Tottenham against Nottingham Forest. On DAB Digital Radio and through the website, you'll hear Aston Villa against West Ham. Here, the sun is beginning to dip below the vast new Riverside stand on the far side of the field. Everyone's still enjoying their day. It's been a lovely day to be outdoors in the capital, but we're still waiting for this match to really catch fire. Here's Hartman on the left-hand side for the away team. It's going to drift in field. Gets it out wide to Jayden Anthony. Faced by Castagna. Hartman gives it back to Anthony. They're working it well here, Burnley, on that flank, but Fulham have got numbers back. Hartman plays this forward. Ogachukwu has it on the corner of the Fulham box. He's been held up, rolls it down the channel. Anthony's cross is cut out by Castagna, and Castagna gets into trouble in his own penalty area, and they've given it away here, and Kyle Walker bursts forward and gets caught by Anthony Robinson, and that entire problem was of Fulham's own making.
Self-inflicted. The passing was terrible. Sometimes where the ball has to go long, they anticipated really well. Burnley, they could see what was happening and where the ball was coming, and they were ready for it. At some stage, Fulham had to knock that long, and they didn't. And then there was a chance where Kyle Walker's gone through, and he's attempted to tackle with the wrong foot as well. Anthony Robinson, yeah, he's gone with his left foot rather than his right foot, so it looked worse than what it was, and it was always going to be a booking. Poor play.
And now it's a free kick in a really dangerous position for Burnley. It's nearly 30 yards out, this, and it's to the right. But James Ward-Prowse can do things with these set pieces. Everybody knows that. Everyone's
it's a cross.
Seen it coming.
He's not shooting from there. It's too wide, but he can whip a decent cross in. Yeah, they're a big side at the back though, Fulham, as you can see them lined up.
Yeah,
they've not had much joy, Burnley, in the first half against Fulham with set pieces, and there were a lot of corners going on in the first half. Then they got no joy. Fulham are a big side.
We're going to go to Loftus Road in a second. Let's see what Ward-Prowse can do from this set piece. It's definitely him with his right foot, so he'll clip it in. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything to try and beat Bernd Leno from here. Referee tells him to get on with it. This is clipped in, and it runs all the way through, and it's going to get picked up by Humphreys on this left-hand side. Fulham haven't dealt with this. Hartman's cross is deflected into the arms of Leno. Let's go to Loftus Road. Sophie Evans.
It's QPR 4, Portsmouth 1, 56 minutes played, and it's Ryan Colley who gets his brace. He drove forward on a break on the right-hand side. It was a tight angle, but just on the edge of the box, he slotted it into the bottom left corner. It's QPR 4, Portsmouth 1.
Well, Fulham almost making their way through again. Josh King nearly picking the lock on that Burnley back line, but he couldn't smuggle it through to Harry Wilson. To be fair to Fulham, they're trying to ask a few more questions.
They are. They've just got to show a little bit more urgency. You know what they've got? They've just got to run more. It's as simple as that. They've got
to cover more ground.
They've got to cover more ground. They've got to show more urgency. It's not enough.
Burrs dispossessed. Laurent breaks forward for Burnley. Wide to that right-hand side, and Foster goes out for a throw-in.
It's getting no change from Anthony Robinson over there, Foster. None whatsoever. And to be, I feel for him because he's a centre forward. He's not a wide player.
No, he's not.
And he's having to play in a position where I don't think he's as confident.
And Zian Fleming isn't really a centre forward either.
No, he's not.
Played in a number 10 role for Millwall, and I think for Burnley in the initial stages, but he's being used as a kind of battering ram, and he is strong. This is played forward for Burnley, collected by the goalkeeper, Bernd Leno, and we've had 12 second half minutes here on BBC Radio London on 94.9 FM DAB digital radio and on BBC Sounds. Fulham trying to play their way out from the back. Now, last time they did this, it went horribly wrong. It seems to have gone a bit better this time. King gets it wide to Castagna. The white shirt's moving forward. Castagna's eaten up some territory. King goes on the outside. He's approaching the edge of the box. Into Wilson. Into the penalty area. Wide to Castagna again. Left-footed dinks in across, and the header from Muniz goes wide. He jumped unmarked, 7 yards out, couldn't hit the target. 0-0.
Well, again, decent play. And what that play out wide does is it allows the centre forward to get in the box and get set. And then the ball is a decent ball clipped up, and I'm just thinking, edit back where it comes from, which is done. and if he hits the target, it's in. But again, it's not as close as everyone thinks. If the truth be told,
no,
it's not as close.
Dubravka didn't look worried about it.
Didn't look worried. If he hits the target at that far post, it's in. But hasn't happened. But again, good 1 and 2 touch play to get that ball wide and an early cross.
Anderson playing this out from the back. The play out from the back works. The second time of asking.
It did.
From a Fulham perspective, we should give them a bit of credit for that. Here's Iwobi. Threads the pass for Bob, but I'm not sure if it was for Bob or for Robinson. Didn't find either of them.
It was a poor pass from Iwobi. Ball got stuck between his feet, and that was why he couldn't get the purchase on it to get, because it wasn't. I think it was for Robinson, not Bob.
Yeah.
I thought he was, but he couldn't get the ball out of his feet to be able to set the pass up quick enough. So what you do there is you let the ball run across your body, and then you take it with your left foot. But he's got it stuck. He's touched it with his left foot, stuck between his feet, and he's tried to dig it out with his right foot. Hasn't got the purchase on it.
Still 0-0 in this one sole Premier League 3 o'clock game. Fulham have created a bit more in this second half. Here's Jayden Anthony moving infield for Burnley. Gets it wide to Foster, who crosses for Fleming, who scores for Burnley from 6 yards. It was a really crisp move. The cross came in from the right-hand side from Foster, and no one picked up Zian Fleming, who really couldn't miss. And we've described this game as one that Fulham simply have to win. And with just over half an hour to go, they trail at home to the team second bottom. Scott Parker's team second bottom, no less. Fulham 0, Burnley 1.
Well, when you move the ball with urgency and purpose and intensity, which is what they did right in front of us, it started with, I think it was Jayden Anthony and Hartman, and he comes in off the line and he follows his pass. Hartman plays it to him. He comes across the pitch. Lars Foster is free, cuts the ball back, and as all the defenders have to move towards the near post, he just stands his ground, Zian Fleming, and it comes to him, and all he's got to do is guide it into the net. A really good goal. Again, the one genuine bit of quality play there, and it's a good team goal. Fulham have work to do now.
Meanwhile, multiple changes. Chukwueze and Sessegnon on for Bob and Robinson. They made these changes before the kickoff.
Well, let's just hope it's not too late, because now Burnley have something to hold on to, and they'll sit in and make it difficult for Fulham. Now Fulham have to show some urgency now.
Ryan Sessegnon comes on to play at left back where Robinson was, and Chukwueze is going to go and play where Oscar Bob was, so no real change in approach. Chukwueze will play high up on that left hand side. Well, Sessegnon will play behind him.
Yeah, I like Chukwueze because every time he gets the ball, he'll try and take someone on. He'll try and do so. Oscar Bob, I feel for a little bit because he hasn't really set the world alight at the moment. I'm not quite sure what he is actually. Is he a central midfielder? Is he a wide player? I'm not quite sure how he fits in Fulham's side at the moment.
Well, they've got to respond here, Fulham, really. If they lose this game, I think it will just suck all the air out of Fulham's attempts to qualify for a European spot. And then what will happen is we'll spend the rest of the season talking about whether Marco Silva's going to stay. And, you know, guys, it's the 21st of March. We don't want to be talking about this for a solid 2 months.
Well, the problem you have is losing games like this, like you said, all impetus in their season is done. All desire to finish in Europe is done. You know, they'll have to win every game after that, and on this evidence that's not possible.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? You're looking for form, aren't you?
Come on!
And a 0-0 draw against Nottingham Forest doesn't really inspire confidence. Neither does losing 1-0 at home to West Ham. Neither does going out in the FA Cup at the hands of Southampton again here.
It's a poor run of form.
A really bad time at the season as well. Here's Wilson, who goes down under a challenge.
He's dangerous, Wilson, because he's taken 2 Burnley players down with him.
There's a couple who are also requiring a bit of treatment. Hartman is down there. So is Ward-Prowse. And after all that, it will be a free kick to Fulham.
Well, Hartman hurt himself trying to clip He hurt himself trying to clip Harry Wilson. I think he might be getting booked, by the way. And Ward-Prowse's tackle was slightly late.
Oh, Josh Lawrence already on a yellow card, actually, if he was involved in that. Is Ward-Prowse going to get booked whilst being treated?
He's waiting for Ward-Prowse. Well, both of them tried to stop Harry Wilson, you know, I say by foul means. I have to say, not fair. And they've both come off worse for wear.
Well, here's the free kick. Iwobi's going to take it. Right-footed, fizzed in towards the far post, headed down. It's a real scramble. Castagna can't get hold of it. Bassi into the mix, flicked on again. King can't get hold of that ball either, and it's lifted away. Lifted away for a throw-in on this near side. We're taken short by Wilson to Iwobi. 1-0 Burnley lead here on BBC Radio London. Here's Iwobi through the middle, wide to Wilson on that right-hand side. Turn forward now for King. King gets across and he goes over everybody, and Walker has to tuck it behind. He knew he had players arriving behind him. Fulham trying to respond to going behind.
Well, they've taken the corner already, they've taken it quick.
They have, and it's going to be set for Wilson, who shoots from the edge of the box. He's blocked. He has to sprint back. Forest Green 2, Wealdstone 0, also in the National League this afternoon. Bernd Leno miles from his goal. Gives this to Bassi. And then wide to Anderson and Castagna on the right. Here's King, moves away from two defenders. He's going to run square across the edge of the D. Uses Wilson alongside him. Wide to Sessegnon. He skips past two, gets in across, looks at Castagna. He can't make contact. He was being marked, should we say, by Walker. And then Jayden Anthony clears only as far as Anderson. Fulham still hammering away, trying to get back on level terms. Here's Josh King on the right-hand side. Back to Bassi just outside the centre circle. It's going to find Sessegnon on that side. And they've made a bit of a mess of it. Chukwueze has to rush back to keep it alive. Then clipped into the box once again. Iwobi brings it down, but he gets away from him off his chest. And it's going to be a goal kick.
Well, they're defending for their lives, Burnley, and in all honesty, they're defending really well. They're closing it out when they need to. Fulham are huffing and puffing, and you can see there's more urgency and more risk in their play now. People are running forward, and all the things they should have been doing in the first half. It's taken them going a goal behind to encourage them to do it.
Yeah, that's quite annoying as well, isn't it?
It is.
Why do you only play like this when you're 1-0 down?
Yeah, it is. It is annoying.
It's Fleming who scored the goal, but he has it taken away from him. Comes back to Anderson, who will stride out of his penalty area with some urgency. Fulham trailing in this game by 1-0. And it's going to fall to Sessegnon once more, who came on as a sub at the moment the goal went in. Here's Chukwueze likewise. Back to Calvin Bassi just outside the centre circle. They're trying to work it on that left-hand side. Fulham, there's no way through it at the moment. Here's Burge, dinks it, far post. King almost gets hold of it. King does get hold of it, and Josh King scores for Fulham inside the 6-yard box. He had 2 bites of that. It is 1-1. Burnley were ahead for a matter of minutes, and what a big moment for Josh King. Denied a goal earlier on in the half after a magical run. This time Johnny on the spot, reacting after Dubravka couldn't keep it out. It's his first Premier League goal, and he's level matters at Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Burnley 1.
Well, since the half started, he's been the lively one. And he's onside, he makes a really good run. And he manages, he has to swivel with almost pirouettes. And slightly lost his bearings, but managed to get a touch on it. And got fortunate because Dubravka comes for it, and the touch is what prompts him to lose the ball. And because it hits him, it sits up lovely for Josh King to just put in an empty net. They both don't know where the ball is, and then he turns and it's there and he puts it in an empty net.
Now, there is a point in the proceedings when neither of them are watching the ball, but it is 1-1. And I do declare that a game of football has broken out at Craven Cottage.
Well, all of a sudden it's now lively, and there's urgency and risk, and people are trying things.
The crowd are up, and that was not the case for the whole first half. That's been cleared by Dubravka out of play. Just getting a chance to see the goal again as King turns and tries to knock it past Dubravka. He gets a touch on it, then it hits Dubravka, gives King the chance to turn and score. What a lovely moment for the 19-year-old. If you remember, a couple of years ago, is King again. He's won to corner. A couple of years ago, he was denied a first Premier League goal at Chelsea.
Wonderful goal as well.
By a scandalous piece of officiating.
It's terrible.
It was one of those really stupid VAR decisions. And they took it away from him, and Fulham went on to lose the game. So at last he's off the mark in the Premier League.
He's done well today.
For the Cottagers.
He's been one of the few that have tried.
Here's Wilson's corner, flows in towards the far post. Anderson jumping, it's a real scramble, bundled away by Foster. The referee's seen a foul. Free kick, Burnley inside their own box.
Well, I've got to say, he must have some serious eyesight to see a foul there, the ref. I think sometimes they just blow. When there's a collision, they just blow sometimes. Dubravka's gone down, and you know what? When the goal went in, he was limping. He was sure after the goal went in as well, so maybe that's something from then.
The Fulham centre-half Calvin Bassey was really going at it there with Leslie Ogachukwu in the bottom, and he probably just gave it one of two ways. He did a passable impression. They were both doing a passable impression of Mr. Bump, who just can't stop having little accidents. It was a case of, oh dear, Mr. Bump. But it could have bumped either way, and the referee could have given it either way. In the end, he gave a free kick to the defending team, because that's kind of what you do.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, really. Sometimes it cannot always be to the defensive side, but it seems to be. You know, and both teams now, both sets of managers have got their teams over there, and I think they're stressing the importance of this game, of winning this game. I like to think that's what it's about. It's giving them a pep talk about really getting after the opposition and trying to win this game.
Yes, it's given the opportunity for both sets of players to have a little pep talk. I think Dubravka is actually injured sometimes here in these circumstances, and you think there's no injury at all. This is almost like a timeout.
Yeah. I think he hurt himself. I do. I think after the goal went in, you saw it come back to him, and he was walking sort of slightly gingerly on his right. It looks like his right knee, maybe.
Max Weiss is the alternative goalkeeper for Burnley. It would be a Premier League debut for him were he to come on. Let's go to the Valley while they try and get him fit and ready. How are Charlton and Norwich faring, Louis Mendes?
20 left to go. It's still 1-0 to Norwich here, but the Addicts have come really close. Ramsey's header from the corner, rattling off the crossbar. Clark's rebound blocked on the line. Still Charlton 0, Norwich 1.
Dubravka is mobile once again. And he's trying to will himself to take a goal kick, and while he does that, we'll get a Plough Lane. Izzy Gilligan.
There's been an equaliser for the visitors. It's Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 1 in front of their fans in the away end. Lovely counter-attack. Cian Hayes to Jimmy J Morgan, who in plenty of space fired at home to equalise. Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 1.
Fulham trying to play out from the back here, and Bassey's clearance hits Ogachukwu and goes out of play for a goal kick. We'll go to Brisbane Road, Leighton Orient, Wickham, Dave Victor.
It came so close to grabbing a second just before you joined us. The ball from a corner came out to Theo Archibald. It was a light strike with his left foot inches wide of the far post. It is Leighton Orient 1, 10-men Wycombe Wanderers 0.
What about free scoring QPR and Portsmouth? Sophie Evans.
Still QPR 4, Portsmouth 1. QPR starting to sit back and defend now. Connor Chaplin came on at the half-hour mark, and he made some fantastic crosses. And Joe Walsh has been forced into a couple of really good saves from close range. But as it stands, it's still QPR 4, Portsmouth 1.
Here come Burnley. Well, I thought Lauren was going to be able to get hold of that, but here come the Cottagers. It's with Wilson running at the edge of the box into the penalty area. He goes, runs, scares, shoots and scores! Puts Fulham in front for the first time this afternoon, with just over 15 minutes to go. And of course it's Harry Wilson to come to Fulham's rescue. He was found out on that right-hand side, and the Burnley defence just melted away in the sunshine. He cutting field onto his trusty left foot and drove it hard and low to Dubravka's bottom left-hand side. What a turnaround
from the moment Jayden Anthony gives the ball away centrally, Hartman, the left back, has pushed right on, and Harry Wilson stayed out wide, and he's on his own. Josh King finds him, and we're right behind him. And you're thinking right there, Burnley in trouble here. You know what he's going to do. You know he's going to cut in, and if he gets a bit of time, and he did, and he struck it through four. There were four Burnley players. He's managed to strike the ball through and past, and it's not gone in the corner either. It's not gone in the corner either, so Dubravka, I think, might be slightly disappointed with that as well.
10 Premier League goals for Harry Wilson this season now. And all of this excitement and activity has taken 13 minutes. 13 minutes ago, Burnley went in front, and now with 15 minutes left, more or less, it's 2-1 to Fulham.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, what going a goal down can do, because it totally galvanised Fulham. They changed and then they scored, and there's an urgency in them that always a chance here.
Yeah, he's on. Is he onside here, Anthony?
Yeah, he is.
Turns it into the box, and it's over the top from Laurent. Well, that was an opportunity for Burnley to get straight back into it. They've won a corner because the challenge was made as Laurent shot.
Well, look where he is. It's woeful play from Fulham's defence, because it's a throw-in, so he's onside, and Jayden Anthony has crept 15 yards ahead of Fulham's back four, close to the goal, and no one's seen him. I wonder what Bernd Leno was thinking, because if he can see it, he should be communicating with his defenders. None of them have seen Jayden Anthony. It's bizarre.
I bet he's communicating now. Here's the corner for Burnley, into the box, headed up in the air by Esteve. Could have turned that towards goal, could have been real trouble. Now here's Sessegnon, who's handled it.
His hand.
Burnley have taken the free kick quickly. And they're coming forward again with Jayden Anthony. He shoots, and he goes through the legs of Fleming and into the arms of Leno. Well, Fulham have nodded off, having gone 2-1 up. And Burnley have had a couple of opportunities to level matters once again.
Well, they need to do better there with Jayden Anthony. I've got to say, there's going to be a better strike, but they take the free kick quick. Maybe not from the right place, but Fulham, like you said, fallen asleep, and they're moaning at the ref. But no, you have to play, and you have to, when the ball goes dead is when you come alive, and you should be defending properly. And if that had gone in, Michael Silva,
dear,
he wouldn't have been happy.
That milk tray would have...
Honestly,
is it a milk tray? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. The chocolates would have melted.
Yeah, they
gone
under the heat of his glare.
Yeah. They definitely would have melted.
There's one in the air by Anderson. Fleming again. What a nuisance. I suppose Burnley might as well just go for it.
They've got to go for it now. Yeah.
Quite a good game the last 15 minutes or so. Here's Foster down the right. Keeps it in play by the corner flag. It's been put out of play by Ryan Sessegnon for a throw-in. Fulham 2, Burnley 1 here on BBC Radio London. Josh King and Harry Wilson have turned this sole 3 o'clock Premier League fixture around, but Burnley are now asking a lot of questions. Throw-in high up the pitch. Kyle Walker to take it. They pushed Humphreys into the box. Ogachukwu is in there as well.
Double sub.
We're going to see changes for Burnley now. Ward-Prowse coming off.
That's Lyle Foster as well.
And Lyle Foster also being withdrawn.
Coming off number 20, James Ward-Prowse. And coming off number 35, Ashley Barnes. Coming off number 9, Lyle Foster. And coming on number 10, Marcus Edwards.
Marcus Edwards, who used to play his football at Tottenham years ago. Had a spell at Sporting Lisbon as well, no less. Ashley Barnes is a wily old campaigner, 36 years of age these days.
He's going to irritate everyone, you know that already.
Here's the throw in for Edwards, who tries to set it for Walker, but it's given away. That's his first touch, Edwards, and Josh King is leading the charge down the flank. He's put it out of play. It'll be a throw in. The referee says no, the throw's supposed to go the other way. It's a Fulham throw.
Yeah, the ball's just been touched out of, and Fulham will slow it down now. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they should. I think they've got to go for another go because Burnley are going to throw everything at it.
Yeah, they'll be they've got to match Burnley's energy. I think otherwise,
to do it.
We've already seen they're going to concede opportunities.
And this is the mistake teams play: is they power down and they don't continue the urgency. and that's got to remain. The ugly stuff, the urgency's got to remain.
Bassi barges Barnes out the way. Fulham have it on the halfway line. The crowd enjoyed that, and we haven't heard kind of contented ripples of applause around Craven Cottage a great deal so far this afternoon. Anderson goes back to Leno, away to our left. Fulham has still got quite a bit of this game to negotiate now. We've got at least 12 minutes plus added on time. Muniz wins a header on the halfway line, then it almost drops to Josh King. I'm sure King would rather have scored his first Premier League goal with that wonderful individual effort against Chelsea, but a scruffy goal off Dubravka will have to do.
He'll take that.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
not a problem. He'll take that. He's finally done it. He'll take that. He's been decent today. I mean, for one so slight, he's tough, and he doesn't hide, and he always wants the ball, and he's always involved, and you know, he looks a really good prospect for Fulham.
He's a great talent. Being asked to play in that role in a Premier League team is
a lot of responsibility for one so young.
Absolutely, yeah, you are the fulcrum, aren't you? This is played forward for Burnley, looking for Fleming, who nods it down. Barnes tries to get hold of it, he can't. Iwobi angles this wide for Chukwueze, but it's won back by Burnley. Here's Walker. Walker gets held. It's a free kick on the halfway line, and we'll go to Hayes Lane. The goal for Ryan Matthews.
And it's Bromley 1, Colchester United 0 inside the final 20 minutes. A flurry of chances found the ball to Nicky Kabamba in the 6-yard box. He swiveled and smashed into the top corner for his 12th of the season. Bromley 1, Colchester United 0.
Hartman's cross almost finds Ashley Barnes. It's a really important clearance by Anderson.
Wonderful defending. Wonderful for defending, because I'm thinking, oh, it's a goal here. Because he comes from nowhere, Anderson, because that cuts the keeper out, and Barnes has got a tap in.
I think Josh King is done for Fulham. Another change. Raul Jimenez is coming on instead.
Coming off, number 24, Josh King.
Well, what a big moment for him today, opening his Premier League account. And it'll be Emile Smith-Rowe who replaces him. And Rodrigo Muniz is also coming off.
And coming on, number 32, Emile Smith-Rowe.
So Fulham
just number 9, Rodrigo Muniz.
Just refreshing their attacking options with 9 second half minutes
coming
left.
On number 7, Raul Jimenez.
The first thing Jimenez has got to do is go into the 18-yard box to defend this long throw from Kyle Walker. He leans back, does Walker, kicks over the microphone and hurls it to the edge of the 6-yard box, so it's headed away by Anderson. Comes back to Walker. Is it back to Hartman, who skips in field. Good run by Hartman. Shoots! And that's a good save by Leno down to his left. That was goal-bound from Quincy Hartman, who can't believe he hasn't scored. Leno got down really quickly to his left to turn it round the post.
Well, it's a wonderful save. We're right behind it, and I'm thinking, well, that's in. Took a deflection as well. Changed the direction. Great save.
This is clipped in now, and it's a scramble. Comes out to Humphreys. He'll clip ball towards the far post. Fleming goes up there. It's going to drop to Wilson, who volleys it clear. These are nervous moments for Fulham, who will cherish this lead. This is played past an awful ball forward by Walker.
What was he thinking?
And he goes out for I think there'll be a throw in to Fulham right by their corner flag.
Just seen that, it's a wonderful save. It's just watching it again, because it took a deflection that kind of supercharged it, actually, and changed the direction of it, and it's a great save, a really good save.
Would have messed up all Leno's angles, but he still managed to adjust and get it right. Esteve pumps this header forward, cleared towards the halfway line. He's still got 7 minutes of the 90 to go. Fulham lead 2-1, and as Paul Mortimer has been suggesting, probably do with another one. Chukwueze with an early ball for Jimenez, who tries to bring it down on the edge of the box, has to run out to the flank. He's done well to keep it alive. Back to Castagna, just inside the Burnley half of the field. Back to Anderson. Here's Bassi, going to clip this forward, headed away by Walker. Ogachukwu controls it, goes back to Humphreys inside his own box, who lifts it forward. Oh, and Anderson's made a horrible error of trying to clear that. He's given it straight to Fleming, and Burnley will come forward. Fortunately, there are lots of white shirts back now as this is played forward too far in front of Edwards. Back it goes to Leno, still 2-1.
You know, this is not over. This is not, I've got to say, like I said to you before, Fulham probably need another one, because they'll keep throwing stuff at it, Burnley. They'll keep throwing everything at it.
Here's Wilson on the halfway line. Clips a beautiful pass to Chukwueze, who gives it to Smith Rowe, and they combine on that side of the field. Here's Chukwueze again, edge of the penalty area. Into the box he goes, outside of the foot to shoot. It flies up in the air, and it's gathered by Dubravka. Sutton 0, Truro 3 in the National League. Here in the Premier League, it's 2-1 to Fulham. He tried a Trivela with the outside of his left foot.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do that when you're 2-1 up. Maybe you can't. I don't know.
Fair play to him. I mean, it's taking a deflection and stuff. But the thing that concerned me, Dubravka gets the ball. No Burnley players forward. Like he was looking to get it up there early, and he couldn't.
Anthony goes on the outside of Castagna, gets away down that left-hand side. The Fulham fullback sticks with him. Hartman wins a throw-in off Wilson. We've got 5 minutes of the 90 left. It's 2-1 to Fulham. They've had to come from behind after a very workmanlike first 45 minutes. Zian Fleming put Burnley in front. The goals from Josh King and Harry Wilson have turned things around, but it's a slender lead. And since they've taken the lead, Burnley have made chances. Hartman, in particular, that effort well saved by Lennon. Anthony took a heavy touch there. It drops to Walker, given to Hartman again. He's going to try and play this early, headed away from danger by Anderson. He's done just enough to lift it away. Castagna says, I could have dealt with that, but Anderson said, I'm not taking any chances. Hartman with this throw down in front of us in the shadow of the Johnny Haynes stand now. Here's another change. Kyle Walker's coming on. And Loam Chown is coming on, the Frenchman who cost £13 million from Lazio. Did you know what? There is another goal at Loftus Road. Go on, Sophie.
Would you believe it? It's QPR 5, Portsmouth 1. Kieran Morgan played a ball into the box for Escudinha, who was then pushed by Colby Bishop, and the referee pointed to the spot. Richard Kone stepped up and he just struck it into the bottom left corner. We are in dreamland here at Loftus Road. It's QPR 5, Portsmouth 1.
Harry Wilson coming off. That looks like Harrison Reed, who's coming on. And we'll watch this throw in for Burnley down the left-hand side, and we'll go elsewhere. But let's see what Jayden Anthony can do from this set piece. Harry Wilson, who might have scored the winner, comes off to a very, very good reception again. 10 Premier League goals for him this season, now that he's put the Cottagers in front. Anthony's throw goes short to Hartman, swung into the box, headed away by Anderson. And then Bassi completes the clearance, and Jimenez is going to break over the halfway line, and there are loads of players pouring forward. One of them is Iwobi. 4 in the box here for Fulham. Iwobi dinks it into the penalty area, too close to Dubravka. He bowls it out even quicker, and here goes Chona, the substitute, over the halfway line. It's like a basketball game at the moment. We'll go elsewhere in just a moment or two. He's approaching the edge of the Fulham box and gets the wind ever so slightly taken out of his sails. Here he is again with Edwards outside him. Marcus Edwards has it on the flank, lifts it across, blocked behind by Castagna. Corner to Burnley. I think we're going to Charlton next, and we'll do there now. Louis Mendes, what's the latest?
Yeah, 3 minutes left to go. Still Charlton 0, Norwich 1. Carey came close, shot blocked on the edge of the area. Kelman and Rankin Costello on for the last few moments for the Addicts, still trailing by a goal to nil.
Here's the corner. Burnley 7th of the game. 2 minutes of the 90 left. Fulham with a slender 2-1 lead. Anthony raises his left arm, right-footed, clips it towards the far post, and it eludes everybody. It's a goal kick, and are you kidding, Sophie Evans?
What on earth is going on at Loftus Road? It's QPR 6, Portsmouth 1. Richard Kone with 2 goals in 2 minutes. He struck from the penalty spot, and just a minute later, on a quick break, top of the box, tucks it into the bottom left corner. QPR 6, Portsmouth 1. Can you believe it?
I think we have to say, do not adjust your set at times like this. It's not faulty.
Is that the moment where they put the SIX in brackets?
No, generally the 7 is the one, because 7 looks a bit like 1, doesn't it? I suppose that's for the video printer. You might have to Google that, some of you.
Old school, that's what I grew up with.
Exactly.
CFAX.
Yeah. What's CFAX?
Yeah, I know, I can hear most people saying that.
Here's Fleming, who's onside as he breaks forward here for Burnley. Sends it forward to Chauma, who shoots at a tight angle, and saved by Leno. We're going to Plough Lane and Izzy Gilligan.
Yes, and it's still Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 1, and both sides just really fighting for a winner here as we play out the final 5 minutes of the 90. Reinforcements coming on for the visitors here just to try and make something happen, but for now it remains level. Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 1.
What about Orient Wickham? Dave Victor.
It remains Leighton Orient in front as we move into the last 4 minutes of this one, but the 10 men still very much in the game, and in the 80th minute it was Harvey who forced an excellent save from Will Dennis. It is Leighton Orient 1, Wickham Wanderers 0.
We're going to find out how long will be added on. Is there going to be a sub as well, or is this just the fourth official saying?
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum 6 minutes additional time to be played in this match.
6 more
it's
minutes.
A minimum of 6 minutes.
6 minutes for Fulham to negotiate at 2-1. Back it goes to Dubravka, who lifts it clear. This won't be straightforward. Burnley with Fleming try and help this forward. Comes back to Iwobi. Pretty sure they still need another one, Paul.
Well, I mean, I always worry about Fulham.
Here's Harrison Reed, first touching's coming on in the penalty here. Dinks across far post, Jimenez back across goal and over the top. Harrison Reed popping up in a rather unusual position.
Good play,
clipping it across.
Good play, clips it to the back post, and he's always behind Jimenez. Can't move his feet quick enough to get enough purchase on it. Oh, there's a chance.
Well, they've given it away here, and it's going to break to Smith Rowe, and as he gets ready to pull the trigger, Jayden Anthony takes it away from him. Not sure what Fulham or Burnley were doing there, to be honest with you. Here goes Sessegnon, brilliant run into the penalty area, cuts it back for Smith Rowe, gets closed down, Reed shoots, it's blocked. Smith Rowe again can't turn it towards goal. The game has completely deteriorated. It's sent forward now by Castagna. It runs behind Anderson. The ball going one way than the other. It's back with Leno. Still 2-1. We're playing the 2nd minute of the 6th. The referee said he'd add on.
It's interesting. This is what I expected. Not as harebrained as this, but this is what I expected in the first half, where teams are actually looking to go and win the game. So it's taken a team to go behind for this to happen, and it's all happening when it's too late, really.
Yes, it's a strange time to try and establish some level of control from a Fulham perspective. They probably should have done this 10 minutes ago. That may have been a yellow card for Alex Iwobi for that challenge. Yeah, the crowd didn't like it, but Iwobi goes in the book. You get the double moan, one for the free kick, and then one for the card. Free kick to Burnley. Humphreys pumps it long. Barnes rises, wins the header. It drops into the Fulham penalty area. Anderson will hook it clear towards the halfway line. Jimenez helps it on beautifully for Chukwueze. Wants to run at Esteve on that side. He needs help. Samuel Chukwueze. He's played a lovely ball through for Jimenez. Saved by Dubravka. Didn't know much about it. It's a penalty. Penalty to Fulham.
He's sending the ball.
And he's shown a red card to Martin Dubravka for the challenge on Jimenez as he went through. The ball did seem to leave Jimenez's foot and strike Dubravka in the chest, but I think it's what happens just after the save's made. Jimenez then goes down, and the referee, Mr. Kavanagh, points straight to the spot and has shown Martin Dubravka a straight red card. We're going to get the chance to see it again. Lovely ball by Chukwueze. Jimenez shoots it, hits Dubravka, and then as Jimenez tries to help it into the net, is there a foul? Is there a foul here? Are they both try and go for it? It bounces. Jimenez volleys it into the chest of Dubravka, who sends it up in the air. I can't see what that's for. Or has Josh Lauren been sent off?
It must be Lauren.
Lauren must have been sent off. Yes, he's
Lauren
off. He's going. Right.
That was quite confusing.
That makes perfect sense. They kept cutting to Dubravka on the replay, thinking there must have been something after the decision was made. But anyway, red card, Lauren off, penalty Fulham in stoppage time to wrap things up. We've played for 4 minutes of added time. We're going to get a Brisbane Road in a second, but the ball's on the spot, and Raul Jimenez wants to get on with this. I think he thought he was about to wrap it up when Dubravka intervened.
And he was fouled.
The referee suddenly gave an awful lot in a very short space of time. But here we are deep into stoppage time. This to wrap things up for Fulham and to land an important 3 points in their pursuit of European football. Here comes Jimenez, a stuttering run, and he scores! Dubravka goes the right way, but he struck it well enough, it goes in. And deep into stoppage time at Craven Cottage, Fulham know the points are safe, and they know they're still in the running for a European spot at the end of this campaign. They've made hard work of this, but they're going to beat second from bottom Burnley by 3 goals to 1.
Well, the Burnley players are moaning at the ref. Waste of time now. Decision's been made. Get on with trying to nick a goal. Again, I've got to say, Chukwueze, a really good ball, a really great run from Jimenez. And is it a foul? Does it deny a goal scoring opportunity? You have to say yes. Yeah, I mean, Laurent was going to try and upset Jimenez's rhythm. He did. The ball doesn't go in the net. That's the risk that you take. The ref's given a penalty, and they put the game to bed now, Fulham.
We're in the 6th minute. There's been a goal at Brisbane Road. Dave Victor.
Leighton have grabbed a second, and a very important one, and it came from the substitute Idris El Mazouni. Great work by Don Ballard, who turned provider. Idris El Mazouni's strike went in off the post. Leighton 2, 10 men Wycombe Wanderers 0.
Thank you, Dave. 3-1 Fulham here. We're going to have another couple of minutes, I think, because of the penalty and the red card. And here come Fulham once again. Sanderberg through the middle. Jimenez wants it played to him. He's gone wide to Iwobi. Left edge of the box. He's cutting in field. Shoots. Deflected up in the air. And then a cross goal from Chukwueze. And wide.
Well, he should score Chukwueze. I mean, of course, a player down, throwing everything forward. There are gaps all over the place. Sanderberg runs. And it's now about a decision. Good pass. Iwobi, I wasn't sure he was sure what he was going to do. The ball popped to Chukwueze, and I'll tell you what, he should score. And I would think the corner flag got more problems from that strike than the goal. It was closer to the corner flag, but it looks like it's come off his shin.
Well, 4-1 would be a very misrepresented reading of what we've seen.
What 3-1 is? It's never a 3-1. No, I mean, Burnley, you think, this should never be a 3-1, but
they've had chances, haven't they, Burnley?
You go back to Zian Fleming's header at 0-0.
Yeah.
You know, they've had their chances.
Headed away by Bassi, drops to halfway. Jimenez now playing the 7th minute of added time, and Raul Jimenez is bearing down on goal. Through to Chukwueze, who drives this in and wide. He could have had a couple in stoppage time, Samuel Chukwueze. This one goes wide of Dubravka's right hand upright, and it's still just 3-1.
Well, again, they drive forward. There's gaps all over the place. Chukwueze doesn't seem to have his shooting boots on at the moment, because that's not really close. I know he's giving it the oohs and the ahs, but it's not really that close.
8th minute of added time. Still we play. It's going to drop to Sanderberg in the middle here for Fulham. Every time they come forward, they look like they're going to score. It's a case of whether they'll have time to have one more go. It's with Castagna deep inside his own half of the field, and that is full time. Listen to that roar. Listen to the celebration inside Craven Cottage. It was in the balance this for a very, very long time, and when Zian Fleming put Burnley in front with half an hour to go, doubt was almost tangible inside Craven Cottage, but they turned it around. Goals from Josh King and Harry Wilson in quick succession, followed by Raul Jimenez's penalty in added time after Josh Lauren was sent off. It's been a disappointing few weeks for Fulham. The FA Cup run slipped away from them, and you felt they were off the pace in the pursuit of European football, but this was a game they simply had to win, and after initially making a bit of a mess of it, they have got the job done, and they're still just about in the mix for those top positions at the end of the 2025-2026 season. The goals, as I said, from King, his first ever Premier League goal, 10th of the season for the season for Harry Wilson in the Premier League, and the penalty from Jimenez in stoppage time means the job's been done eventually, but they made jolly hard work of it. Full time, Fulham 3, Burnley 1.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
Up to 8th in the table, a point behind Brentford, who play Leeds at 8 o'clock tonight. Let's go round our other games and full times. This is going to take a while to get through this. Sophie Evans has been watching Queen's Park Rangers against Portsmouth.
You can't believe it, Phil. At full time, it's QPR 6, Portsmouth 1. The Arse took the lead 7 minutes in. Paul Smith curled it into the top right corner from outside the area, backflipping in delight afterwards. Ryan Colley made it 2 in spectacular fashion. Smith found him 30 yards out, and he drilled it into the bottom right corner. Smith got his brace for his side's third goal inside half an hour. Harvey Vale played a brilliant ball in behind for him, and he swept it home before treating the crowd to more somersaults. Julian Stefan's side were denied a clean sheet in the 38th minute, though, when John Swift's long-range effort found its way into the bottom left corner. Colley drove it into the box and rifled in his second goal in the 55th minute. It was a remarkable display from the 21-year-old this afternoon. Richard Kone then decided to be the third QPR player to bag a brace. He converted from the penalty spot with 3 minutes left of normal time. Then only a minute later, he struck again for the R's 6th goal. The Hoops get their first win in 4 Championship home matches. Pompey head back to the South Coast, still just 1 point above the relegation zone. It's ended QPR 6, Portsmouth 1.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Hayes Lane then. Big win for Bromley at home to Colchester United. Ryan Matthews.
Full-time, Bromley 1, Colchester United 0. A pulsating encounter in the spring sunshine goes the way of the Ravens as Bromley make this a club record 21 games unbeaten. Under the cosh for vast swathes of the game, Bromley held their nerve, and they were rewarded on the 72nd minute as Nicky Kabamba pounced at the far post, swivelling and smashing his 12th of the season into the roof of the net. The Ravens march on here, 5 points clear at the top of the League 2, only 7 games to go. Bromley 1, Colchester United 0.
Yeah, 5 points clear of Milton Keynes, who were in second. They were beaten by Barnet earlier today, and 9 points clear of Notts County in fourth. I don't know if we really assess that. I think that's much more significant. Swindon a further point behind, but Notts County have got a game in hand, but still 9 point gap to the playoff places from the automatic places for Bromley, and games starting to run out. 7 to go for Bromley. Let's go to the Valley, shall we? No, we're not going to go to the Valley. We're going to go to Leyton Orient, who are well and truly back in form, Dave Victor.
They certainly are. This is their 4th straight win, Phil. It has finished Leyton Orient 2, Wycombe Wanderers 0. The changing point really came in the 8th minute of this one. Don Ballard had got beyond Taylor Allen, who pulled back Leyton Orient's leading marksman on the very edge of the penalty area, and Simon Mather produced a red card. But the 10 men fought very hard throughout the afternoon. The breakthrough came in the 18th minute. Theo Archibald winning possession wide on the right hand side, setting up Demi Mitchell, who made sure after an initial mistake from goalkeeper Will Norris. Leyton Orient, though, in the second half having so much possession, but the 10 men had strong penalty appeals refused. Oladipo going down from a challenge from Jack Simpson, and Harvey denied by a good save from Will Dennis. But the issue put beyond doubt in the additional time, it was Don Ballard who turned provider for Idris El Mazouni, the substitute, with a strike which went in off the post, his 5th of the season. Leyton Orient 2nd of the afternoon, and a 4th straight win for Richie Wellens' Mighty O's. Leyton Orient 2, Wycombe Wanderers 0.
Yeah, really good afternoon for Leyton Orient. Not such so for Charlton at home to Norwich. 3 game unbeaten runs come to an end, Louis Mendes.
Yeah, first loss in 4 for the Addicts. Charlton 0, Norwich 1. The goal came on just 5 minutes. Pearl Matson with his first goal for Norwich City afforded time and space on the edge of the area to drill the shot beyond Will Mannion. Norwich could have extended their lead further with chances from Magoma and Kazisgarden in the first half. Charlton got better in the second half, had their biggest moment of the game on 65 minutes when Kane Ramsey headed against the crossbar. Clark's rebound was blocked on the line as well. There were strong penalty appeals for a foul on Lloyd Jones after a pull by McConville as well that were waved away. At the other end, Mannion made some good saves to keep Charlton in this game. They just couldn't find that leveller twice towards the end. Carey, the ball sat up for him on the edge of the box, shots blocked, and Charlton just can't get the leveller here. Norwich continue their great form. Charlton beaten for the first time in 4, finishes Charlton 0, Norwich 1.
And frustration this afternoon for AFC Wimbledon at home to Peterborough United. Here's Izzy Gilligan.
Full time at Plough Lane, it's a goal apiece and a point apiece as it finishes Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 1. After a nervous start, the Dons settled into things and dominated until their efforts were rewarded through a set piece just before the half. It was a lovely delivery from Steve Seddon, finished well by Ryan Johnson, who got his 4th of the campaign. They carried that winning energy into the second half, but then the visitors just switched on the urgency and Wimbledon couldn't sustain their attacks. Kian Hayes picked out Jimmy J Morgan on a fast break and he smashed it into the bottom right corner to equalise for the Posh. Wimbledon fought hard for a winner, but despite what felt like corner after corner, they just couldn't find the goal. Results elsewhere see Johnny Jackson's men stay in 14th without a win in 3. Full-time, Wimbledon 1, Peterborough 0.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
So, quite a busy afternoon in the end. Millwall get a big point at Ipswich away from home. The best home team in the league, says Alex Neil, and they've got something out of it. Barnet with a big win at Milton Keynes in our other early kick-off today as well, keeping them in the hunt possibly for a playoff place in League 2. Fulham are up to 8th in the Premier League. Josh King scores his first Premier League goal. I know we thought he'd done it a while ago, but it is his first Premier League goal as they come from behind to beat Burnley by 3-1 in the only 3 o'clock Premier League game in the country. Queen's Park Rangers back to winning ways at home with a 6-1 thrashing of Portsmouth, but Charlton's recovery of late with 3 unbeaten comes to an end as they lose at home to Norwich City by 1-0. Leyton Orient make it 4 on the bounce with a home win against Wycombe Wanderers. Idris El Mazouni is back, so says Dave Victor, after he scores the second in their win this afternoon against Wycombe Wanderers. And AFC Wimbledon frustratingly held at home by Peterborough United, are still 14th in the table though, AFC Wimbledon. Bromley are 5 points clear at the top of the League 2 table after a Nicky Kabamba goal in the second half gives them a 1-0 home win over Colchester United. And as we said, Barnet are still in the hunt possibly for the playoffs after they beat Milton Keynes, who were second and are still rivals to Bromley, by 3-1. We've got 55 minutes to get into all of that. Reaction to this afternoon's football. We'll get Paul Mortimer's thoughts as well. Yours if you want to join us here on BBC Radio London on the Far Post.
Total Sport. BBC Radio London.
You can call us 0800 731 2000 at any time you want to talk about your football team. Good, the bad, the ugly. Not so much ugly that today, I would have thought. Or you can WhatsApp at if you want to just mention London when you start your message, 08000 321 333. Save that number in your phone and WhatsApp 08000 321 333, or at BBC London Sport when it comes to X. Right, Paul Mortimer's been watching Fulham today. The first half was dire. The second half was heading against Paul. Burnley took the lead, and then not Marco Silva, not the substitutions. It was someone sat behind you who fired up Fulham. Let's have a listen. It was that gentleman behind you, Paul, at 1-0 down. From that point on, Fulham didn't look back. Can we hear him again? This is. There we go. That is what gave Fulham the go-ahead.
Yeah, and they needed something, and I think it was going a goal behind, and that would be what irritated Marco Silva. Is the urgency came when desperation kicked in, when they went a goal behind, because it's a game that they couldn't afford to lose, and then they livened up. I mean, Josh King's been good in the second half. He's still playing the number 10 role, and he was all over the pitch, and you know, the goal he scored, he did really well actually. You know, there's an angled ball in, he makes a straight run, and I think he pirouettes literally in the air, and what helps him is he gets a nick on it and it's stopped by Dubravka, and it bounces out, and they both got their backs to it, to be honest, and neither of them knows the ball's there until he turns, sees it, Josh King, smashes it in the net, and then from there on the game's slightly different from there onwards. But yeah, I mean, and the other goal, Harry Wilson's goal, I mean, we're right behind Harry Wilson when it comes to him on the right wing, and you know what he's going to do. But when players are at the top of their game, you know what he's going to do. They couldn't stop him. He cuts inside, and again, that goal is not in the right-hand corner. I think Dubravka might be a bit disappointed with that, because it was closer to him than it was the post. And you know, they're throwing everything at it then, Burnley, and the third goal comes, and the sending off. Great run from Jimenez, great ball from Chukwueze, and you know, is he nudged? Yes, he is. Is it enough for a sending off? I don't think so, but that's what the ref does, and the game's over. It's never a 3-1.
No.
I've got to say, it's never a 3-1.
Feel for Burnley in that respect, don't you?
Well, if Burnley come away with 2-2, you'd have to say they deserve something from this game, but they didn't take their chances.
No.
Zian Fremlin missed a fantastic chance in the first half at 0-0 with the game's different, and he should score, to be truthfully honest. So there's a lot of things that, and I'm talking to some friends of mine who are Burnley people, that's been happening to them throughout the season, where they get a great chance, they don't score, the game goes away from them, and that's a theme that's run through them this season. But for Fulham, you know, they've got the job done. The fans around me, especially the one who was having a scream and a shout, were not convinced that they would get anything from this game. So poor they were for the first hour. But then, you know, Burnley do him a favour by scoring, by the way. I think that's when it changed.
Which they did, Paul. 1 point behind Brentford, who play Leeds this evening. Liverpool away next up. To be honest, Anfield's no scary place to go these days. I was there last week. I mean, it was like a library last week. It's quite sad actually to see Anfield like that from a personal perspective. Then it's Brentford away the following game after that. I mean, that could suddenly become a mouth-watering West London derby to see who's going to finish top West London team, because Chelsea are sliding, aren't they? I'm looking at Andrew as I say this, who is studio manager. He's a Chelsea fan, as you know, Morts. But Chelsea are sliding. They're going to finish mid-table probably if they're lucky. So it could be don't do that, Andrew. But it could be a battle for Europe between Brentford and Fulham by that point. But because they won today, if they'd not won today, you would start questioning that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for 50 minutes they never looked like winning this. They never looked like scoring, to be truthfully honest. They huffed and puffed, and there was just no real urgency or quality about their game. And like I say, the goal and the guy shouting behind me is what's livened them up. But yes, Liverpool will be a strange game. I mean, you know, I'm sitting in the lounge before, and we're watching the Liverpool game and thinking, well, they could get beat. As magnificent as they were at midweek, although Galatasaray weren't great, but Liverpool have an inconsistency about them that will allow others to step into that European spot without a doubt. And you know, Fulham have got to keep believing. They've got, like you said, a couple of tough games coming, and on this performance, you know, you go to Liverpool, you're not quite sure who's going to win, but they've got to keep going. They've played average, below average, and nicked 3 goals and won a game today. And if they could do that between now and the end of the season, then they'd finish, I think, in the European spots. But I'm not sure, I've got to say, because if they perform anything like this against a decent side, because to be fair, Burnley were not decent, a decent side, they're not winning. They're not winning. They've got to be, you know, 30, 40, 50% better, Fulham, in their games coming up if they want a European spot.
I mean, what was your explanation for the difference between the first and second half?
Like I said, I think there must have been some sort of a Portuguese hairdryer going on at half time. That's all I can think of, because the worry for me was the mindset, because you're playing against Burnley, you all week you're talking about Europe and the desires for Europe, so I would have thought they would have been on the front foot. They'd have been pushing Burnley into making mistakes, and there wasn't. This game was like the penultimate game of the season, where you're staying up and there's nothing to play for, and you just don't want to get injured. That's what it felt like for 60 minutes from Fulham. They were so passive and really lacking in energy. And maybe at half time, there was a reset because they came out slightly with more urgency. But what livened them up was going a goal behind.
Yeah.
To be truthfully honest, now you can't do that every game and expect to come out winning. So something in the mindset has to change from the start of the game, because for 50 minutes they were dreadful.
Yeah. Well, we were speaking at half time, and it was like, or even to the second half, thinking, is Marco, is there a bit of a checking out going on here? Is there a flip-flops and Hawaiian shirts moment going on for Fulham?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Again, one of my old teammates, Glenn Little's here working for Burnley, and he said the same thing. This has got the case of flip-flops, and he actually said, "Can't we have flip-flops up here in the gantry?" Because it seems like he did, and it was a bit like that, and it was. And I'm just sitting there watching and thinking, the crowd are grumbling, and the worry was there was some boos in the first half. There were upset fans, but they all went away happy. But does this paper over huge cracks?
Good point.
Because that's the thing you have to... And by the way, the next few games will tell us.
Yeah, they certainly will. Just very briefly, Chelsea or Everton, that kicks off in 16 minutes' time. Chelsea starting lineup: Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Fofana, Hato. What are we going with? Hato, Cucurella, Lavia and Caicedo in midfield, Palmer, Fernandes and Pedro Neto, with João Pedro up front. Everton, by the way, Pickford in goal, O'Brien, Tarkowski, Keane, Mikalenko, Garner and Idrissa in midfield, McNeil, Dewsbury Hall and Dye and Beto up front. There you go, there's some good news for Chelsea fans. Beto's playing up front. I'm only joking. Of course, James Garner is in midfield, picked in the England squad. I don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea. I was sort of half joking, but if you look at the table, actually, if Chelsea were to slip up today, Brentford would go level on points with them. They're not going to beat Leeds by the 14-goal swing that they're going to need, but they would go level on points with them. Fulham would only be 4 points behind Chelsea at this moment in time as well, if Chelsea were to lose at Everton. So although I'm sort of half joking, the West London teams in the Premier League currently 6th, 7th and 8th, and it is a bit of a race on between them. And it could be a race on between who's going to finish in European places. So it's crazy, really.
Without a doubt. But you see, the carrot for Chelsea is they're 6th at the moment. They win and they go to 4th.
Yeah.
That is, you don't even have to have a team talk. That's what it's about. It's about now finishing as high as possible. The problem they've had is they've been inconsistent.
Yeah.
The team has changed far too much. And again, that may well be injury or loss of form or whatever. You need just some sort of consistency.
Yeah.
Just the same group of players to play the next 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Come what may, whatever the results are, you just need a bit of consistency. Are Chelsea good enough? Without a doubt, they've got a group of talented players. My only worry is they don't have any experience.
No.
So when the game is going the other way, they don't have that ability to recognise that and do something about it.
And Liam, and obviously you know his dad.
Yes.
You worked with his dad at Brentford, for example.
Yes.
It's very difficult. I think, being the manager of Hull, even being the manager of Strasbourg, it's very different to being the manager of Chelsea. And, I know he wants, Gary Lineker's had some advice, or he's given, not that Gary's ever been a manager, of course, but he is sort of said about when it comes to press conferences, maybe Liam, you want to be authentic, but on the flip side, he's sort of almost saying, actually you need to sort of try and take away some of the noise that's going on. It's very difficult to try and dull the noise at Chelsea, though, isn't it? Because they're a very noisy football club. There's always something going on, whether it's the players, whether it's the ownership, whether we've seen the punishments that have been handed out from the previous regime, and then on top of that, Liam's been sort of dragged into sort of making some statements or comments in press conferences, which have then led to some unkind comments, and it's all a bit. And what he needs, he's right. Actually, he's pointed out he hasn't had a pre-season. What he needs is almost a breather for everyone to sort of get hold of where he's at.
Yeah, it's irritating for me because he's a family friendly, and I've not seen him because he's been abroad. I've seen so much of him on TV and listened to him, and unfortunately, it's that saturation. But I think what the learning for him is, you have to control, the narrative. When you speak to the press, you're in charge of what you say.
Yeah.
And that's what has to happen, because the thing about the press is, let's not kid ourselves, they want to catch you out. They want a meme. They want a soundbite. They want something that they can hang you with, to be truthfully honest. So what you have to do, to be truthfully honest, is to be able to control what you're saying. Now, the problem you have, I think Liam is a magnificent manager, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't say this because I know him well. If he's left alone, I said it right at the start, he'll do a magnificent job. The problem with a club like Chelsea is you are never left alone. No. You are never left to go under the radar and just do the job, because there is so much baggage that isn't nothing. It's anything to do with you, but there is so much attached to it. Like you say, it's difficult to drown out the noise, and what he needs is to just rumble on, finish fourth, get a pre-season in, and you'll see the best of him at Chelsea. But is he going to be allowed to do that? I genuinely hope so, because he deserves that.
It's interesting. Xavi's just pointed out something that Kevin Kilbane, who played with Liam, I think, at Hull, and he knows him. He said, look, you see the way he is now. To me, he's unrecognisable to the player and person I knew. He's like, as if this is what Kevin Kilbane has said. He's almost as if he's swallowed a psychologist's manual or a sporting mentor's memoir. Everything he says to me is it's not. There's nothing to it. How much of that may be due to the fact that when you're suddenly put in the glare and the spotlight, you can start relying upon, crutches to help you in those sort of circumstances, and he's never been in this spotlight before.
No, he hasn't. But I mean, 100%, I have no problem with him handling that. I do. And you know what? The workplace environment, which it is, demands something different from you sometimes. Yeah. So as authentic as we want to be, it asks different things from you, and it's just about getting in tune with that. I mean, yes, this is a spotlight he's probably never experienced before. Strasbourg was something. This is slightly different. And because you get people well-meaning who come out and say things. Kevin Kilbane comes out and says he's nothing like I don't know whether that helps or hinders, to be truthfully honest. I don't know if that's helpful.
But you do become a public figure, don't you, when you're a Premier League football manager?
And that's the thing, and that it's a very lonely environment as well. He's got good people around him. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think he'll understand because he learns well. So I think he'll learn and he'll understand. The problem you have, like I said, is he going to be left alone to be able to get on with it without the noise? Because at the moment the noise is too loud.
Yeah.
And when it is too loud, like any noise, it distracts you from being able to focus on what you need to focus on, because you're forever having to attend to this noise around you. So if he can get someone in who can deal with that noise and just leave him to coach the players and get on with it, he will be fine. They will be fine. They've got a good group of players. They'll be fine. But my worry is he ever going to just be left alone to do the job without people questioning every single thing he's doing?
Yeah.
Which, is unfair, but it comes with the territory. I understand that.
I suppose if they were winning, it wouldn't actually, less of a story. I mean,
He'd still get it. As far as I'm concerned, he'd still get it because it's Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because there's an expectation there that's slightly unrealistic. But because they're inconsistent, which, to be truthfully honest, is not about Liam, that's just about
what's gone on at the club.
Exactly. Well, it's been inconsistent way before Liam, until they have a period of stability where they're not signing hundreds of players and young players and so many different players, and I bet he's not met them all. There's so many of them. Do you know what I mean? Or seen enough of them on the pitch. So there's how you wade through all of that and create some stability is what's important. And if you can create that stability, then he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But they are inconsistent
massively
because of the inconsistent environment that they're existing in.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help when you get again, the whole circling the ball in the centre circle was a bit strange.
Bizarre.
But Paul Tierney didn't help out there. I mean, he helped create what looked even more bizarre by just not moving out of the way. Now, he might say, well, look, I'm not going to move out. But that just became another sideshow, didn't it? It's just unrequired.
Well, do you know what, Phil? I'm looking at the ref. When I saw it, I'm looking at the ref and saying, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know what they're going to do? What are you doing? Why? I don't understand why the ref hasn't gone, hold on, fellas, let me just step out of the way, and you go and do it over there.
Yeah.
But he hasn't. He stood there. Now, the thing about it is, from there onwards, what social media is, that is going to be huge now irrespective of the score, and you better hope they win, because that is going to become bigger than anything else, and it has done, and it's a nonsense. It really is. But unfortunately, when we talk about the noise, this makes up part of the noise.
Yeah,
this kind of stuff. You know,
it does. We're not helping, I suppose, with that. But yeah, I mean, some of the
I'm blaming you, Phil.
Yeah, it's my fault. I mean, it's just I don't know though, Paul. We've said this. We said about some of the players who roll around and feign injury these days. I mean, there is a lot of stuff in football which it actually detracts from the actual sport as well. And I know some people like it and it works on social media, but I think also sometimes we need to have a sense of reality. So we'll keep.
I totally agree. There's bits I don't like watching.
No.
And it turns me off from watching football. All the rolling about and all of that stuff it's a side of football that we don't need. We don't need it.
You enjoyed the second half, and do you know what else you would have enjoyed today? Not that it would have been about 2.5 miles away.
Yes.
You would have enjoyed the events at Loftus Road. Queen's Park Rangers 6, Portsmouth 1. Hang on there, Paul, because Gareth Dixon from the Rangers Thing podcast has got in touch with us to give us his thoughts.
A lovely day in the spring sunshine in West London as QPR won 6-1 versus Portsmouth, a team we haven't beat in league since 2011. To be honest with you, it was a little bit like the stats commentary game where we lost 7-1, which has been much spoken about this season. Stats showed that we had less shots than Portsmouth, less possession than Portsmouth, but QPR were just incredibly clinical going forward. Homegrown Ryan Colley's 2 goals were sensational out of pretty much nothing, very little chance of scoring both his chances, yet they both went in. The day looked like ours from the start, really, when Paul Smith scored after 7 minutes, and probably did get one back just before half time to make us a little bit worried, but we ended the game as we started, scoring goals and taking our chances. And to be honest, Portsmouth just looked bedraggled as the game went on and were struggling to get any cohesion to their play, and we're probably struggling with the amount of goals that were going past them. So nice win for Rangers, 6-1, biggest of the season. Nice for strikers to get 2 goals. Paul Smith had a great game as well. And it looks like we're in the Championship for next season, confirmed now, and onwards and upwards.
Yeah, Mort's 13th in the table. They are 3 points off 9th placed Watford, who they play next. I mean, it's the R's could finish in the top half of the table now. Before that game at Leicester last week, there was some nerves jangling. There were some people saying, are we still in a relegation dogfight? But suddenly beat Leicester heavily, now absolutely pump Portsmouth. I mean, they are 2 struggling sides, let's face it. But if they can finish positively, maybe, let's say, win 3 out of the last 7 games, Queen's Park Rangers, so therefore they finish on 62 points. That is progress.
Yeah, I mean, see, now what you're doing now is you're preparing for next season, and the stronger you finish, the better players you might, draw to the club. Because then you might be thinking about promotion the following year or the playoffs. So you don't want it to fizzle out. And today's game was one of those where we've all played in them before, where for some odd reason every chance went in. I mean, that's not going to happen every week.
No.
But literally every chance you made went in, and I'm sitting there 5, 6, fantastic. And had the game gone on, it would have been 12, just because on the day every chance that they had went in. That doesn't happen often, but what it does is it gives you some confidence going into the next game's a big game. You want to beat Watford without a doubt, and you want to now win as many games as you can and finish as high up the table as you can, so that you can convince the manager, can convince the owners, we're not too far off a promotion, so let's can we have a bit more money to nick a few more players. It will convince the players, actually, we are good enough to be able to look at promotion. Because if it fizzles out, you end up with a malaise, and you end up thinking, well, what are we?
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
It's pretty obvious where the weakness is. So only Sheffield Wednesday have conceded more goals than QPR this season. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that there was that 7-goal hiding handed out by Coventry, but they're not the only team that have suffered at the hands of Coventry. Millwall, likewise, for example, were beaten heavily by Coventry City. But 61 goals conceded for QPR. They scored 55 goals, 6 today. So it's only the top 8 that have scored more goals than QPR, or teams in the top 8. But that's an area, and I think there's been some concerns about goalkeepers throughout the season. Orient, we've been hearing from Dave, their 5th goalkeeper they're on this season, with Dennis in goal now for Leyton Orient, and they're starting to find their form. But it's at the back, and if you want to succeed, if you've got a leaky defence, you can only get so far with goal scorers.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're having to score 3 goals a game to win, which is literally where you're at, that just isn't. That's championship winning form. Okay, and we're nowhere near that. At least you're clear on what the problems are. You know, and everyone blames the goalkeeper. It may not just be the goalkeeper.
No.
We're talking about how we defend, and then they'll break down. You know, the analysts will break down where all the goals come from. It may be from set pieces, so you have to look at set pieces. It may be down one side of the pitch. It might be the 2 centre halves. It may be how we press. You know, in the high block in going forward. I don't know. They'll have to break that down. But that is a huge. You can't concede that many goals and try to be successful. It just isn't possible. You know. So that's what they'll have to look at. And if they get that, can you consider if they get that right with the amount of goals they've scored? That would push them further up the table without a doubt. And then they'd be on the shirt tails of the playoffs and things. So, you know, at least they're clear in you know, their identity and what is needed and what is required. Now the question is about recruitment now. You know, where are they going to get people? And this is why, you know, you have to look at the budget for next season. Is it a consolidation budget? By that I mean they're staying mid-table. Is it one where they're really going to go for it? You know, it now comes down to resources and budget and players that they let go and players that they might be signing, and they'll be looking at that now. Because you don't want to leave it till the end of the season. They'll be looking at it now. Who can they bring in to strengthen that won't cost as much? Maybe coming to the end of their contract, whatever. Yeah. So they'll be looking at all of that now.
If we can hang on to you just for a little bit longer, Paul, let's hear from Josh King, who scored his first Premier League goal for Fulham today. I know he scored earlier in the year, but it didn't count at a certain club elsewhere in West London, and it became Fulham's goal of the month. But he did score today. It was an important one as well. He's been speaking to Gary Flintoff from the BBC.
I know it's about the team first and foremost, but we cannot get away from the fact that this is your first Premier League goal. So, firstly on that, how did it feel?
The feeling is incredible. I think with everything which happened earlier in the season, with the Chelsea goal and it being chalked off for me,
and what a goal that was, by the way.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It's just it's an incredible moment for me and my family. I got to give gratitude to God first and foremost, and then to everyone who's believed in me, and the manager stuck with me and really helped me develop, and there's a lot of other coaches who have helped me along the way, and it's just a really nice moment for me and hopefully something I can build on.
With the Chelsea thing in mind, though, was there just a little nagging voice in the back of your mind thinking, am I onside here?
There probably was a little bit of a voice in the back of my head which said, stay cool before I can celebrate. And to be honest, I didn't even know how to celebrate in a way, but no, it was an incredible moment for me, and almost indescribable, really.
And in terms of the performance from the team, clearly went a goal behind but showed great character to come back and win comfortably at the end, and you're right in this in terms of a race for European football next season, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we showed really good resilience today, and I think it's a credit to the sort of character we have as a team. The last 3 games have been a bit difficult for us. We haven't scored, and so sort of getting that goal to equalise was a bit vital, and then obviously H getting the goal, and then Raul and top players, and we sort of just ran away with it a little bit, but obviously it's a big thing for us, and hopefully that will help us push on and hopefully push for European spots.
What would that mean to get European football?
It's a dream. I think for all the fans, I've been a Fulham fan and at Fulham since I was 5-6 years old, and for me, like, I don't remember watching it, but I remember hearing about when we used to be back in Europe back in the day and stuff, so it would be incredible for us and the fans, and hopefully we can achieve it.
Well, how old does that make you feel? I can't remember it, but I remember hearing about it. It's not that long ago, is it? When they were in Europe getting to the UEFA Cup final.
He was probably at school. He was at school. Remember, it's not that. I mean, it's a good while ago for him.
Well, for all of us, yeah. But I mean, how old does that make you feel?
I try not to think about it, but yes, it does, doesn't it? No, it's not how old we are; it's how young he is.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, I like that. Actually,
we're all right.
Brilliant. That's why. That's why we pay you the big bucks, Paul, to make us feel better. So, in regards, I mean, obviously, the goal that was chalked off at Chelsea was disgraceful. It was a really poor decision. Today was a sort of slightly easier goal in certain respects, but just to get off the mark like that, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one bright spark, I've got to say. He tried. He was the one who showed, good movement and really enterprise and tried things, ran with the ball, tried to get on the end of things. And again, it was a great ball into him. And And he had a lot to do, to be honest. And he could have lost his bearings because he literally had to pirouette a little bit, lost his bearings a little bit. The ball, it was fortunate that it hit Dubravka and bounced down for him to just swivel and put in the net. But I like him. He's a really good player. And for one so slight, he's tough. And he's strong, and he holds people off really well. He had another chance, actually, where he drove through the middle of the pitch, held off a couple, and really, I thought, should have stroked it home with his left foot, tried to do it with his right foot, hit Dubravka, but I think he's a good little player, and they've really used him well. Because there's spells where he's been out of the side, there's spells where he's come off the bench. They've introduced him to it really well. And by the way, the goal that was chalked off, I actually think, it sounds harsh, it's irrelevant.
Oh yeah,
because it wasn't a goal. But no, a lot of people, I mean, he should not have that in his head. But I understand why he does, because it was a travesty. It really was a travesty. It really was, of decision making. But I'm pleased for him. Again, he was a bright spark for Fulham, and they needed bright sparks today. I'll tell you that much, because they've won 3-1. They go away happy. Never a 3-1, by the way.
No.
Never a 3-1.
Finally, can I just ask you a bit lower down the football ladder, but Bromley again? I mean, they are proving that they are dogged. They've gone to a 5-point gap at the top of the table, a 9-point gap to fourth again today. They had to be patient. They got a 1-0 win. Kabamba this time with a goal, former Barnet player they signed from Barnet to get the 1-0 win against Colchester United. We're at that point of the season. You said it earlier in the game. It's not necessarily always going to be pretty, but it needs to be effective. And Bromley, if you keep a clean sheet, 1-0 is enough. You just get a sense that they are edging their way bit by bit towards League One. And if you consider this is only their second year in the Football League, with everything that's going on there, they're sort of setting a bit of an example of how to go about getting yourself promoted.
Well, I just don't know what Andy Woodman's doing down there, because it's absolutely incredible to come from where they've come from and the resources that they have. If you think about budgets, I've got to say, in that division, they'll be, in the bottom 5 in terms of budgets. I've got to say, he's got the mindset right. He's got the mindset right, and I've played in teams at the top of the table, fortunately, where you come to this end of the season, and the mindset changes. This is just about getting the job done. Doesn't matter how we do it. We win ugly, then we win ugly. We win with flair, then we win with flair. But you know what we do? We win. And it doesn't matter whether it's the first minute the goal or the 101st minute. And we stay in the game. And what they've become is tough to beat. A good foundation that's built on not conceding goals. So what happens when you get to this stage is the players don't make mistakes. They don't make mistakes, so they don't cost goals. So they keep the ball away from their goal. Yet they know if they create chances, they can score. In I think it's Michael Cheek. They've got a goal scorer without a doubt. So they know. Like I remember when we had Clive Mendonca. I keep saying it. We knew we could keep the game tight, serve him, he will score for us. So you go into games knowing you can win. Not thinking or perhaps knowing that if we keep a clean sheet, we play for that one moment, he'll score for us, and we get out of dodge, having not played well, but with the 3 points. And I think that's the mindset he's got. It's the mindset of winners. That mindset that we know we can win. We know we feel it week in, week out. And all they do is they just rumble on week in, week out. And is it pretty? It may not be pretty. Can they play fancy football? That may not be happening, because often when you're at the top of the table, the opponents, they don't try to beat you, they try to stop you. And so it's not pretty. No. So it's somewhat attritional football. But they know how to get over the line, and that's what they'll keep doing. And the other teams, what it does is it intimidates the other teams. Yeah. Because they know we can't catch them. No. We can't. And we can't afford to make mistakes either. So what that does is it puts pressure on all the other teams. And what you find is the other teams can't handle it. They can't. They haven't got that consistency, and that's what they've got. And you'll see them. They'll glide through to the end of the season, and I expect them to be promoted. It's a wonderful achievement. I've got to say, when we talk about manager of the year, you talk about things like that. You think about the resources he's got, and where he's come from. They're the types that should be getting manager of the year, but it doesn't seem to happen.
No, it's a very good point. Paul, listen, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for your time this
You're
afternoon.
Very welcome. Cheers.
And 9 goals in one London borough today by London teams. So that's pretty good going, isn't it? 11 goals in total in one London borough in the top 2 divisions. Fulham beating Burnley by 3-1, and Queen's Park Rangers with a 6-1 win. Earlier today, Arsenal with a big victory in the WSL, beating West Ham 5-0. 1-1 it finished. Chelsea against London City Lionesses. West Ham United beaten, as we said, at Arsenal. Tottenham losing 5-2 at Manchester City, and Manchester United with a late winner against Everton as well. Harlequins beaten 26-19 in the men's Premiership today in rugby union. It's BBC Radio London. It's Total Sport. It's just gone 25 to 6.
Because of you, good things happen. Because of you, London is a better place.
It's so important that they are recognised.
You inspire, you encourage, you lift others up.
If I'm sitting there like so emotional thinking, wow.
You and people just like you are the spark that makes a difference.
To nominate a local hero for a Make a Difference award, go to bbc.co.uk/make a difference, where you'll find a list of categories, full terms and our privacy notice. Nominations close on the 31st of March at 5 p.m.
Make a difference. We can make a difference.
BBC Radio London.
It's Total Sport on BBC Radio London on a Saturday evening. Tomorrow, 2:00 start for us. We've got two Premier League commentaries for you. Tottenham Hotspur against Nottingham Forest on 94.9 FM and BBC Sounds on DAB Digital Radio. West Ham United at Aston Villa. We'll also have the build-up to Arsenal's League Cup final against Manchester City, talking about all the stuff that goes on in sport, which is just nonsense, on the BBC Sport website at the moment. It's nothing to do with London, but Ayr Rugby Football Club are hosting the Curry Chieftains, I think their nickname is, in the Scottish Rugby Men's Premiership final, and it's real sport because Ev just scored a brilliant try, I can tell you, and as the outside centre was darting over to dot it down, the dog on the side of the pitch had to get out of the way because he didn't want to get kicked by the players running through to celebrate. That is proper sport, isn't it? It's almost 20 to 6. Upload here at 6 o'clock. It's BBC Introducing at 8 with Jess is at tonight as well. But let's get some reaction to a very, very happy afternoon for Leyton Orient fans. 4 straight wins now for the O's, who continue to push away from the bottom 4 of League One. Dave Victor has just asked the manager, Richie Wellens, what's gone right in the last few weeks?
Listen, from January, I told you, didn't I? I felt like from January, with the players we brought in, it was different to the ones that we'd lost. And I enjoy working with them, they're coachable, they want to learn. But sometimes when you get a group of players, last day of January, you work, but you don't get, it doesn't happen straight away. You get your fruits of your labour that further down the line. And again, for me, that's what it's helped that we got now. It's been nice down here. So probably about 2 weeks ago, we moved back to our original training pitch, which is in better condition, and the players actually walk out in train, enjoy training on a sufficient surface that should be what a good League One club has. So again, training grounds made a difference because it's zippy and it's sharp, and we can actually coach them the way we want to play, and they enjoy the sessions that we put on, and the quality's better. But I think just when you get a group, and it's always happened, hasn't it? It's always happened here. We get new players in the summer. It takes time for us to get going. And same, I liked us when we made the signings. We played Stockport away. I seen good signs, but you don't always get them fruits of your labour straight away. But the players definitely earn it for. Again, some tired legs near the end because we've had a pretty tough schedule. But yeah, good result.
That's Richie Wellens talking to Dave Victor, who's still at Brisbane Road. Dave, thanks for joining us at 20 to 6, almost 19 minutes to 6 on this Saturday evening. Definitely top down on the way home with the car today, Dave. After that, 4 straight wins, pushing away from safety. Is Richie right? He said to you in January it's going to get better.
Well, it needed to get better, didn't it, Phil? And 9 in, 9 out. And I think if you look at the quality of the players that have come in, they've made a huge difference. And I think you have to start with Will Forrester, the first player that Richie Wellens signed during that transfer window. Is now the captain, and he is a genuine leader. I also think you have to look at Will Dennis. He's a physical presence in goal, and there is a confidence about the O's number 1. And when you think he's the 5th player to be signed this season in that position. He is the best by far. And I also think there's a psychological boost with Idris El Mazouni off the bench again this afternoon with his 5th of the season. And when you think he's been out since November, to have such a high scoring tally from midfield, he's still the 3rd leading goal scorer for Leyton Orient. The joint 2nd is Aaron Connolly. He hasn't played since early November. It's been a long time.
It certainly has. Yeah, I mean, the goalkeeping situation's extra. I mean, they signed one goalkeeper who, before he even played, got injured in the warm-up for his debut. I mean, that's where they've had some real ill fortune when it comes to the custodian position, Dave.
Yes, poor Daniel Bachmann. He's not had a lot of luck. Tommy Simpkin was signed in the summer and was meant to be the number 1, but he's probably done better for Stoke than he has done for the O's. He, of course, got retrieved by the Championship club. Yes, it's been a problem position. And Will Dennis is temporary. He's on loan from AFC Bournemouth. He came because of the recommendation of former striker and coach Matt Howard, and he certainly did his former club a huge favour there.
Is that something moving forward, though, that Orient are going to have to address? Let's get through this season and stay up, right? But over the summer, are they going to have to find a goalkeeper who's theirs? Because last season's success was based upon a loanee.
Yes, and they need somebody to replace Lawrence Vigouroux, because since him they've all been loanees. So Bryn, of course, was on loan from Middlesbrough, is now a regular in the Championship, and last season, of course, there was the fantastic Spurs loanee, Josh Keeley, who's not only was a great goalkeeper, was also a very important goal scorer.
Good goal scorer, yeah.
Yes, so it's been a problem position. I suspect there might be some negotiations with AFC Bournemouth, and if we had Will Dennis for another season, I think everybody would settle for that, because it is a difficult position. There are so few good goalkeepers, as Leyton Orient have probably demonstrated this season.
Yeah, that's a good point. Next week, next Saturday, next game, Exeter away, and the Grecians are, well, slipping down the table as if they're greased up Grecians at this moment in time. 5 straight defeats now for them. They're just above the bottom 4. That feels to me like a game that, if they were to get a win next week, Leyton Orient can start breathing even easier, because it'll push Exeter into that bottom 4. It would mean that the gap to them would become 9 points, and it's almost an unassailable gap with 7 to play.
I really worry about Exeter City. Matt Taylor has returned. They had to, of course, change their manager. It's 5 straight defeats. Blackpool are now on level points with Exeter after a very important point earlier today at Cardiff City. Yeah. So I think the likes of Wigan, who also won today, and Burton Albion, Doncaster also hit a bit of form, as well as Leyton Orient. So I really worry about Exeter, but it's going to be a fascinating afternoon in Devon. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
well, if it's nice weather, Dave, then definitely the roof of the car will be on the I don't know if you'd come back down the A303, would you, from Exeter? I would, but that's my personal choice. But I mean, if you can get a win, if Orient can get a win down there, I think that would just sort of really cement this run that they're on.
There is so much confidence about the O's, so who knows, a 5th straight victory is possible. It's very similar to how the O's finished the last season. Of course, that took them to Wembley. The thing they're really looking at now is a golden boot. They won it last season with Charlie Kelman. Yeah. He got 21. We got 8 games remaining. Don Ballard's on 21.
Yeah, so mate, just finally about him. I mean, in a season which has been challenging, for a striker to get that many goals, it's a really positive season for that young man.
It is. It's 3 hat-tricks as well, and he's going to be 21 on April the 1st, and he has got a long contract here at Brisbane Road.
Brilliant, yeah.
But there must be so many clubs that are looking at him now.
I mean, Richie said, did he say not midweek why our England under-21's not looking at him? I mean, simply because he's in League One, right?
It was typical Richie Wellens. He said that he has to keep his feet on the ground, but why isn't he in the England under-21 team?
Brilliant, Dave. Well, thank you. It's great to hear you smiling as well at matches, Dave, because we always worry when things are not going well for you, Dave. We don't like when things make you unhappy, Dave.
Well, thank you, Phil. That's appreciated.
Yeah, so it's good that you're happy.
Now.
You certainly are. Dave Victor, thank you very much indeed. A 2-0 victory today for Leyton Orient. Bromley are 5 points clear at the top of the League 2 table after Milton Keynes were beaten by Barnet. That certainly helped out. And then they beat Colchester United. Nicky Kabamba with the only goal of the game. The boss, Andy Woodman, has been speaking to Ryan Matthews.
It's a club record 21 games unbeaten and another win in this search for Project Champions. How did you see that performance today?
Well, I thought it was tough for the first 20 minutes. I thought, they'd probably be unlucky not to go in 1-0 up at that point. After 20 minutes, they hit the post and we was a little bit all over the place. We couldn't get to grips with it. We kept giving the ball away. And then after that, we sort of got to grips with it a little bit. We hit the bar and we looked a bit more solid and a little bit more effective, but not enough effectiveness for me at that point. So we changed at half time. And we was puffing and trying to get a goal and we changed shape and then we changed players and done, we're just trying everything, and I think you've got to be brave at this stage of the season. It's no good me thinking let's try and get a draw. We've got to go for the wins, and we're top of the table, so we kind of, if you've got that momentum and you've got that belief and you keep going for it, it's funny how things fall for you, and you've got to just keep being brave. And I'm brave, my team are brave, and we got the clean sheet and we got the 3 points, which is invaluable to us.
And you said there a little bit of a slow start, obviously forced into a unwanted substitution with Jesse Deborah going off injured early on. Have you got any update on his condition?
No update on Jesse at the moment. We'll have a look at that on Monday. It's unlike Jesse to come off because he's not that sort of character. But look, I think we've got to mention Zach Medley. He come on and he was fantastic. So credit to him. He's trained properly. He's a good professional, Zach. So he went on there and he was immense as well. So it just goes to show that those two centre halves we brought in in January have been very important to us. But it's another clean sheet. That's the really bit that's important at this stage. I know everyone thinks this, that, and the other. Clean sheets are the key for me, and we're grinding those out. I wouldn't say comfortably, but you can see we're putting everything on the line to make sure we get them.
Another win today. Clean sheets are going to be very important. 1-0 the victory against Colchester United, a 5-point lead, and maybe more importantly at the moment, although the fourth place team have got a game in hand, they are 9 points clear of fourth, which you have to say that if they can maintain that or keep it as far as that, it's about automatic promotion first and foremost, and that will be in itself an amazing achievement. But Andy Woodman's been telling his team all season, you can do this, we can succeed. Now can they get over the line and lift a trophy as well as get promoted? Just 6 goals today for Queen's Park Rangers, just the 6, ending a run of 4 without a win at home. 6-1 the hammering of Portsmouth, 2 goals each for Ryan Coley, Paul Smith and Richard Kone, with 2 late goals from him, including one from the penalty spot. Boss Julien Stéphan has just been speaking to Sophie Evans.
Julian, you said in recent weeks that you wanted to see your side play some football and take some risks. Is it safe to say they did that this afternoon?
Yeah, we had some very good intention today, like we had as well the last week against Leicester. I think it was a clinical game today. It was not our best offensive collective performance. I think we did some better game collectively since the start of the season, but it was really, really clinical today. The first 3 shots, in fact, it was 3 goals. Changed completely after the momentum of the game and the balance of power. A lot of confidence, even if they succeed to score 1 time before the end of the half time. But restart very well the second half, and the willingness to continue to attack and to score more goals. And with the 4th one, kill the game, in fact, and continue after with the striker. We did some subs came on, offensive player as well, continue to push and try to use the spaces because they needed to play higher on the pitch, so more spaces for us behind the defensive line, and we scored like this, the 5th and the 6th one. It's perfect in terms of confidence, of course. It was really, really important for us to confirm the last game and to be able to break, in fact, the bad run that we had before with the 4 defeats in a row in the short term, but it was 4 defeats in a row without goal, and sometimes football is very strange. We didn't score during 4 games, and the last 2 games it's 3 against Leicester, 6 today, with the same players, with the same animation, with the same instructions. So it's difficult to explain everything in football. So when you have a game like this, you have just to enjoy, and and after be ready for the next one, because it's not the end of the season for us. We have to reach some more objective, and we need to do that.
Julian Stefan with the mowers in the background as well. Sophie Evans was watching that. She's still at Loftus Road, I think. Soph, are they still mowing the grass?
They are still mowing the grass. I know that the pitchers looked a little bit tired at points this season.
And we all, yeah.
Don't we all? But looks as if they want to see some better performances at Loftus Road today.
Yeah,
so.
They're into the top half of the table with that. I mean, it's bonkers, really. We did say that this is possible, but they're up to 12th with the way that things are going at this moment in time because of Swansea trailing at home to Coventry City, which you'd expect. So QPR 12th in the table after 2 back-to-back wins. And, I mean, ahead of Leicester's game, 8 days ago, they were travelling up to Leicester, fearful with the Ars fans. Now they're looking up the table. It's incredible, isn't it?
It is incredible. I just think it goes to show how competitive the Championship's been this season, that you can be staring down the barrel of relegation one weekend and then suddenly you could even be looking at those playoff spots. But that's sort of a side that QPR are in recent years. I think, finishing sort of in the middle part of the table is probably a good achievement for them this season. I think they've brought in some great new players. Probably unfortunate that Poku, for example, has had his injury woes, but they've got some great young talents coming through, and I think if they can just find some consistency in these final 7 games, could be in for a really exciting one next year.
Portsmouth aren't great, okay, but the confidence that they will gain from scoring 6 goals, for the next game, which is in 2 weeks' time against Watford, that's going to help.
It will be massive, and look, I think Julian Stefan was really honest there that sometimes football is strange and he couldn't quite explain it, but I think the key is just confidence. He said that he wanted to see his side playing with a little bit more risk, just taking chances. That's exactly what happened today. Colley from 30 yards out getting the second, that was spectacular, and it almost just encouraged others around him to have a go, and that's what will be key going forwards, particularly when they face Watford on Good Friday, which should be a pretty good lineup at this point.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that one. Commentary of that one on Good Friday after Millwall against Middlesbrough. Sophie, thank you very much indeed. Have a good Saturday evening. Sophie Evans with us from Loftus Road, where QPR won by 6-1. Fulham beat Burnley in a much improved second half from an entertainment point of view, from everyone's point of view. 3-1, Burnley took the lead, but Josh King got his first Premier League goal. Harry Wilson and Raul Jimenez with the others for Fulham. Sammy James from the Fulhamish podcast has just sent us this voice note.
Delighted Fulham got the 3 points, obviously. Keeps our decent shot of getting Europe intact, and I think not winning today would have been a disaster. I really hope that over the international break that it allows Fulham to regain their intensity. We were so pedestrian, particularly in the first half, and really only got going once Burnley took the lead. And it's a slice of fortune that we got the equaliser. From there we looked decent. It's a good goal from Wilson. But yeah, Marco said that this game's like a cup final. I know that's probably the most overused cliche by managers, but my word, it didn't look like a cup final. We just strolled about, and that seems to be a lot of what Fulham are doing at the moment. Just not really looking like we're up for the fight, like we really do want to qualify for Europe. So yeah, decent 3 points, but I really hope that we find another gear after the international break.
Josh King got his first ever Premier League goal today, 203 days after he had that one ruled out against Chelsea, of course. It's 0-0 Chelsea-Everton at this moment in time. King's Fulham boss, Marco Silva, says it's lovely to eventually see him get his moment.
I'm very, very, very pleased for him. He's a lovely guy, lovely boy, big talent to have in our football club. He scored his first Premier League goal. You know what it means for him. Unfortunately, he already scored, but was disallowed probably 6-7 months ago. A goal that should not be disallowed. But he finally scored his first goal. He was looking for it against West Ham. Last minutes of the first half, he had a big chance, even probably to put it in the front of the result. And when you play in that position, you need to have an impact in the result with goals, with assists. And he's working very hard to achieve it. It's something that is not even in the point that is going to be in the future, because that we are working very hard with him. He needs to improve in that aspect. He knows, and he comes always with the right mindset to learn and to improve every single day, because the talent he has, and he's already in a very good level. I'm sure that he's going to have a brilliant future.
You are very well placed in the Premier League table. How tantalising is the prospect of potential European football next season?
We are in a position that allows us to fight for something very, very important. And if you are there, we are not going to hide ourselves. We are going to fight, and it's very important for all of us and to understand how it's difficult to be there. And if you have a chance, it's because we have been doing something really good. If you are going to achieve or not, let's see. We are going to see in the end of the season, but 100% sure we are going to fight very hard to achieve. We have big clubs around ourselves. We have many clubs that they want the same than us. But if you are able, and the journey is being so long, and I'm very pleased with the present. I'm confident in the future. We know that you are capable to fight for something important. But I don't forget the past as well, where this club was 2, 3, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and we have been able in this long journey to change completely the mood and the positivity around the club and our quality as well. The demands are different. I'm the first one to put the demands there very high and to put this pressure as well, but I like to look for all the picture as well.
He needed to put the pressure on and make some demands though at half time, didn't he, Nick Godwin, who was our commentator? That first half was not great, and they needed almost to go behind to give him a kick up the old
Exactly. I mean, that must annoy Marco Silva. And I know it annoyed the Fulham fans that sit around us that it took them going behind to actually step up. And it is lovely that Josh King got the opening goal as well. It was a really pivotal goal. And after he was denied his first Premier League goal at Chelsea, all those months ago, really lovely moment for him. He's been speaking to journalists. He's such a lovely lad, he really is, and he's a real asset from this part of the world as well, which is great. But yeah, I think if they do get into Europe this season, people will look back at today as being quite important, pivotal possibly, because I think if they'd have lost, that might have sucked the air out of everything.
Yeah, especially with the performance. But the point behind Brentford now, a bit of pressure they can put on Brentford. They've got Liverpool ahead of the trip to the G-Tech, which could still be a bit of a shootout to finish 7th, couldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it'll be a case of whether Brentford have been proving everybody wrong for so much of this season, they're going to continue to do so, or whether Brentford have achieved so much, they'll ease off. If Fulham can continue any level of consistency, then they'll put Brentford under pressure. But again, the trouble is trying to choose and guess what Brentford are going to do this season has been completely impossible.
Absolutely. Nick, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Well done to you and Paul Mortimer for your coverage. It's been another busy afternoon on BBC Radio London. Don't forget, tomorrow we're back from 2 o'clock. Full commentary of 2 Premier League games on DAB Digital Radio. It'll be West Ham United at Aston Villa, whilst on 94.9 FM and on BBC Sounds it will be Tottenham Hotspur against Nottingham Forest. There's a League Cup Final 2 tomorrow as Arsenal take on Manchester City. Massive thanks to everyone who's been out and about commentating and reporting for us this afternoon, and a huge thanks to Xavi Bird and to Andrew Wright, without whom this programme just would not happen. So thank you to them as well. Thank you for listening. BBC Introducing with Jess is up at 8 o'clock this evening right here on BBC Radio London. BBC Upload with Alice Dale is up next as well on this Saturday evening. And don't forget, Robert Elm's back tomorrow morning from 10 after Jamoke Fashler has been with you. Took a bit of time to get going today at Fulham against Burnley. Needed a bit of encouragement. Not from Marco, not from the players, but from the stands. Have a good Saturday night.